Mr. Eric White. Tonight's a big night, dude. This is
100.
wow. I can't believe it, man.
Me
Can't believe
neither.
All right, let's get into this thing. Guys, welcome to episode 100 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Tonight's a big one, man. I've got updates for the circuit 2025. We've got Mark Campbell on from Deechworks, who's also we were kind of fangirling a little bit backstage talking about his 850 class Mustang. And, that's kind of our jam. We've got him on here. We've got Matt Frost and Adam Dorey on here. And I've penciled in an hour-ish. It's kind of what we are thinking. We're going to talk about all things Rocky Mountain Race Week. So Rocky Mountain Race Week Mega Week coming up, race weekend coming up. And then obviously we've got to talk about the 10 years prior to 2025's running of Rocky Mountain Race Week. So, Mr. Eric White, will you hit that intro video, sir?
Yep, let's do that.
We're gonna pack things up and hit the road and try to make it the next day.
Dude, what is up, man? Are you ready for this?
This is a milestone that when we started, I don't know, 3 years ago or whatever we're on now, 100 seemed so far away, and to be sitting here tonight with all of our race car friends live at episode 100 is it's definitely I can't even find the words for it. It's pretty dang cool though.
Yeah, it's surreal. That's awesome. And man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a good one. Like I said earlier in the opening there. So if you guys are just jumping in, guys, episode 100. I'm Mike Narks, the host of the show you're watching now, and the news that happens on Saturday mornings. And man, living, breathing, eating, sleeping, drag and drive lately. I'll tell you, this week's been a wild one. Mr. Eric White, my co-host, my right hand man. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White, co-host of both the show and the news. Right-hand man, which means anything drag drive repeat related, the circuit related, help with all of that stuff. Plus, you can see here I've got a new hoodie on, but 815 LSX Swaps is my other YouTube channel that I run, focuses on my builds, and then Motorsports Paparazzi is just my media channel for all the events that I attend, either drag racing related or not. I can cover anything over there on that channel. Yep. So definitely stay very, very busy.
Yeah, that's for sure. And man, there's something happened today. Won't you tell your son something there?
Yes, my oldest boy today has turned 20. So everybody appreciate everybody that did comment on Facebook wishing him a happy birthday. But yes, 20 years old today. It's pretty wild as well. Man. Episode number 100 and a 20-year-old. Does it get much better than that?
I don't know. Does that make you feel old?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it. Well, guys, listen, we can't do this without you guys. Our race car friends make this world go around, man. I tell you, we've been a little remiss the last week. Had some crazy stuff going on. I'll tell you guys in a minute, but I just want to say thanks to everybody that's been patient and everybody that's been sharing and commenting on stuff. We've had a big week as far as like all of that stuff goes, even though we've kind of had to dial it back just a little bit because I got some stuff going on. And then thank you so much to our sponsors. We can't do it without those, the travel, the equipment, all that kind of stuff. They make it possible to do that. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Deech Works, who is our newest, but also on tonight. I'm kind of excited about this conversation. Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, who has a new YouTube channel. If you haven't gone and subscribed to J-Wire, do that right now. WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. Man, we can't do it without those guys. We appreciate everybody that's out there. And of course, our main sponsor of the show and the news and the circuit, Summit Racing. Summit Racing Speed Legacy began in 1968 as a one-man startup and is now the world's speed shop with 4 facilities and 200 plus catalog editions. They fuel your passion, save you money, deliver fast, and offer top-notch customer service for more than 1,500 brands. Make sure to download the Summit Racing mobile app for easy access to speed parts. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and you can tune into their On All Cylinders podcast for more automotive discussions like this one. From humble origins to the social media lane, Summit Racing stands by your need for speed. You can find everything you need for your car, your stock, your daily driver, your race car, all that kind of stuff at summitracing.com. I want to give a big shout out to Justin Wiedemann. He is kind of their social media front man. You know, he does a lot of the videos and things like that. He interviewed Gen 2 Garage today. I thought this was a great live stream. It had a lot of good content within it. But then there was a ton of conversations that were going on in the chat, and it was really good. Just want to give a big shout out to them. This will probably end up on the On All Cylinders podcast. It was a good one, man. It was really good. Allison and Tommy both raced the Hurricane powered Dakota at Sick Week, got it into the 9s. I think it's the first Hurricane swapped vehicle in the 9s. Like it was this whole thing, and they kind of went into all of that and how the channel works and all that. So it was really a lot of fun to watch that. So highly recommend that for today on the Summit Racing Equipment channel.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yep. Obviously, when you're over there making orders, grab your Drag Drive Repeat merch, Summit branded Drag Drive Repeat merch. We appreciate them giving that option to all their fans that are out there. And in Drag Drive Repeat news, I just want to give a shout out to all the folks. I haven't made this public. I didn't make any posts about it, but my grandmother, 86 years old, had a car wreck last Tuesday. I literally have spent the last week in Springfield, Missouri with her. She broke her arm. At 86 years old, you probably should not do that. She broke her arm and her hip bone. We got all that fixed with surgery. Took way longer for her to come out of anesthesia than we thought. So that's why we skipped last week doing this episode. But I think, sadly, us moving it back a week will only make the episode bigger because now we have Mark Campbell on and Matt and Adam later. So again, thank you everybody that knew about it and kind of sent some kind words and their support and good vibes and all that kind of stuff. So appreciate that for everybody out there. So that's where the Drag Driver Pete's been for about a week now. So yeah. And then circuit stuff. This was exciting. So part of when I left Springfield on Monday, I came home Tuesday. I needed to go to Tulsa to do some Tulsa Raceway Park stuff. So of course, I had to hit the drive. No, I didn't put them in here. I'll talk about that in a minute. Hang on. Sorry. I got my notes mixed up here. Let's talk about shirts. Dude, shirts.
Look at those things.
Oh my gosh, it looks amazing. Big shout out to Great Apparel Printing and Design, Get Gapped, Karen and the team over there. Just, oh man, out of the park on this one. And this is the second time in 3 years that the Nova has been on the shirt.
It sure has.
Dude, can it do it again? Can it do it again? And, you know, we're looking at like some very fast 8th mile cars showing up this year. A lot of fast cars in that class. Jim Parkinson holds that spot for this year because the quickest 8th mile and quickest quarter mile cars end up on the shirts. Now, if you were listening to John Paul Franks, he said he's coming for that spot in the quarter mile. So I'm excited to see this. Typically, we kind of cap the quarter mile stuff at like the 850s, but now that we're at Tulsa as a host track, we may have to look at something a little different and see if we can go faster, maybe move that unlimited to quarter mile or something like that. So anyways, big shout out to Brian Acton. The Nova looks amazing. Big shout out to Jim Parkinson. The Camaro looks amazing on there. The artwork is just off the chain. I mean, it's so great. It's got the Blue Whale, which is a route stop. It's got Gearhead Curios, which is a route stop. It's got the big Tulsa 66 logo in there that's from the drive. It's got the giant from Gearhead Curios on it. Man, Karen and them just out of the park on this. So the reason this is up tomorrow morning through Sunday, so 3 days through March 16th, we're going to do a pre-order on hoodies because they're expensive and I can't afford to buy a whole bunch of them to have at the event. So we're going to do a pre-order on hoodies and t-shirts. So if you want to order additional stuff or you're not coming to the circuit and you want this shirt because it's freaking awesome, order it. A portion of the proceeds go to the youth services of Tulsa, and you get probably one of the coolest shirts that's in the event out there. I don't know. This thing looks amazing. And so there probably won't be time to ship those before the circuit to folks that aren't coming. So we'll do that when we get back. So be note of that. Like, you won't get this until the week after the circuit if you order it and aren't coming. But if you're coming, you're going to be able to pick it up right on site along with your shirts that you get for doing the event.
Yeah. I think it's cool this year that the shirts and our artwork and a little hint, our trophies all have very similar designs, which I don't think we've done that in the past before. So that's going to be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, big shout out to Travis Wise. I'll be dropping that video on Friday that he sent you and I. I'm gonna drop it on Friday. That'll be it's just a quick video that he did on the trophies that are going to be available for first and second place for all the classes. Super cool stuff. And then lastly, in the circuit, we have something special working with King of the Open Road that Jared Holt and I are working on. It can't come out yet, but hopefully by Saturday we'll be able to talk about it.
Leaving them on a little cliffhanger there.
Yeah, I'm really pumped about it. I think it's gonna be really fun and help the community. Let's just say that.
Yep. So you'll have to tune in Saturday to figure out what that one is.
Yep.
All right. We'll jump on to our Driven Racing Oil event updates. So Driven Racing Oil is the performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application, whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing limits in top fuel drag boats and demo derbies. Winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cling and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil, then enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance. And you guys know the deal. DrivenRacingOil.com is where you can go pick up your oil, any Driven merch, and then on social media, it's Driven Racing Oil on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh yeah, love the guys over there. Can't wait to see them. Hopefully very, very soon. I know we'll see them on Six Summer, but I'm hoping we can peer pressure them into coming to the circuit.
Yep.
All right, man. Lead us into some event stuff.
All right. First up, we've got Central Victorian Dragon Drive coming up here March 27th through 29th. So last year we did something kind of interesting with them. Is that something we're going to do again this year? Should we challenge Central Victorian Dragon Drive to a 650 index challenge again this year like we did last year?
I think so. I mean, we smoked them last time.
We did for sure.
So I think we should. I think, and the 650 is really the only class that crosses over, is why we chose it. So let's get to it. And if Dave is watching or Nadine is watching, let us know if you want to get down with something else, like some 7.0 or 750 8.0 index. We can compare notes there. Whatever your most competitive class is, we want to know, and we want to talk some trash and get some racers involved in it.
Yeah, for sure. And then after that, we've got Road Trip Drag Challenge coming April 11th through 13th. So that's Lakeside, Warwick, and Willowbank.
Yeah, so they're covering some ground there in Australia. And the reason I kind of paired these two up, even though they're the circuit's technically between them, is because I'm hoping some of our Australian fans over there are watching for this, and some of our folks or can share them over there. And look, they've got a 650 shootout as well. on there. So, man, 650 Racing, maybe we can get in some mix with them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Red Hat Scotty said 650-ish class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about that. Maybe that's the way we get around that with the competition there. Well, the circuit, like I said, I drove the route, a little bit of it yesterday. What's wild? Okay, Grove, Oklahoma to Tulsa is only like 80. I don't even think it's 80 miles. It's probably like 60 miles. Dude, it took me 2 hours in the Saturn moving. Like I was trying to get down the road. So, going to be an interesting day. We are literally packing it so full for the circuit that people are going to have a hard time. They're going to be tired. If they think this is a vacation, they're out of their mind. So, obviously my thought the entire drive was scavenger hunt stuff, and then also checkpoints. Are there, easy to get in and out of? How are we going to deal with 200 plus cars cruising in, getting in these parking lots? How bad is the parking lot? What do I need to warn people about? There's no road construction except once you get into Tulsa, right after Pine Street. So if you miss the Pine Street turn, you're going to be in road construction. That's the only time I saw road construction. So I'm really pumped. We're 3 weeks away. I'm sure they'll tear up some road between now and then. But so I hit the checkpoints that were on my route, which meant the Blue Whale pulled in there. That parking lot's complete trash. But there are going to be some really fun scavenger hunt pieces within the grounds of the Blue Whale. Like I'm
Okay.
probably going to hide something in the Blue Whale. I'm going to hide something up by the ship. Gonna be some fun stuff. I've got to get back over there. I didn't have time the other day to finish it up, but we're gonna have a blast with that. I'm telling you. And then Highway Cafe is not going to be a route stop, but it is a great spot to get photos, right? So as I was driving, I was really looking for things on the right as you're driving along. So I'll be making notes of those as people drive, because the last thing we want to do is have somebody cross the road, right? Because we're driving hot rods, we're pulling trailers, all that kind of stuff. So we don't want to get in any struggles there. So Highway Cafe is on the right. They've got the two giants that you see there. And then the other photo here is of, I don't even know what this place is called, but you can lose 2 hours in this place. I didn't even stop this time because the guy was outside working on something, putting up some new piece of artwork that he's gotten. I didn't even stop because, man, you can really get sucked into this place. So there's a lot of really, really cool places as you're driving along Route 66. And that's what I really want out of this trip. This trip isn't about all out speed. This trip is about all out fun and how much you can have of it and how much stuff you can take. Hendrick Heating and Air with Clint Sadowski is one of our route stops. So I pulled in there. You can see the little Saturn on the right. That is a loop right there in case they are closed by the time that we all get there. So this is, again, going to be a Friday stop. We're going to be cruising along. We're going to hit this stop, and then we're going to turn off to get down to Love's truck stop. So, or Love's travel stop. So this is going to be really, really cool. So I had to hit those while I had the chance instead of just jumping on the interstate and cruising down. So I really had a blast. It was really a lot of fun to do that. But man, dude, it took a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
That's awesome. That just means there's cool stuff along the way, though.
Oh, well, and think of the 200 plus cars that are going to be driving along there. Everybody that's in that area, I've already started sending stuff to the Chamber of Commerce Facebook pages for the cities that populate the Route 66 there. So hopefully, oh, hey, Clint says gates will be open till midnight. So that's perfect. That's perfect. And I think the area where the Saturn is parked there is big enough to make a U-turn even with a spool, and it's gravel. So obviously we don't want you doing, don't force your car to spin quickly with a gravelly donut there. But I think we can get turned around and all that stuff. But Clint's car is so freaking nice, man. Oh my gosh. He's not gonna have it ready for the circuit, but dad gum, this thing is so nice, man. I can't wait for people to see this car.
Yeah, it looks nice, and you can't even see much of it in that picture.
But him and I were talking about so I've got to do some research, but he may have the quickest legit all steel car. Like he even has a steel hood that he's going to put on this thing. It's
nice.
I don't know. It's going to be bad to the bone. Just crazy. Anyways, all right, let's move on, man.
Yeah, he's saying you can drive into the facility and do the complete circle drive.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So you won't have to worry about that one there. And then before we go on here, looks like we've got another birthday, Justin Ray Chestnut. So happy birthday.
Yeah. Hey, listen, without Justin, we may not be right here right now. We may not be on episode 100. Well, I would have done this, but I wouldn't have been as eat up with him if he hadn't let me ride in that in his Model A sedan on Sick Week 2022. So him moving to Florida may be the reason we are where we are right now. I'll tell you that much. I'll say that. That's probably the best way to say it. So big shout out to Justin on his birthday. Happy birthday to you, sir.
All right. Travis saying he's working on the last of the trophies now. So that's exciting as well. It
Yeah.
just means we are super close, and that gives me a lot of anxiety.
Dude, yeah, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks. Scared. Okay.
All right.
Lead us in here, man. Tell us what's going on.
Yep. Sick at the Rock. It's we got a 2-day drag and drive class, which is kind of newly added. I know we've talked about it a little bit, but it is more recent with $32,000 in payouts for 32 different categories.
Yeah. This is pretty interesting to me to see, like Matt Frost is jumping into a weekend event later in the year, Sick the Magazine doing this one here, adding this to like the NMCA class. Oh, Johnny Allen says 22 days until the circuit. That sounds way shorter than 3 weeks.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so Sick at the Rock, I'm excited to see it and see how well it does. Obviously Sick the Mag carries a big stick, and so it's going to be interesting to see them go into a weekend style drag and drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's technically it's like a class. It's one class, so it'll be a little different for everybody. So it's more along the lines of their one-off events. They have all these different categories and things like that.
Yep. All right, then up next is the Carolina Drag Cruise. This is sold out. So if you guys are interested in this, you're going to want to go ahead and jump over there and get on their wait list. But as of right now, this event is sold out.
Yeah, and like we talked about, I think it was a week and a half ago on the Saturday morning show, we went over like this is basically a great way to get your feet wet. So you can trailer the car to and from tracks. It's only like 40 something miles between tracks, but if you need to do that, you can if you're too scared.
And that's not in the notes here, but what's the date for this one? Do you know offhand?
It is April 27th through 29th, I think. It's the same weekend as the one in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, 27th and 29th, yeah.
So that puts us at 38 events for the year so far. So
crazy.
That's wild. And you guys know dragdriverepeat.com/event list-2025 is where you can go and you can see the entire list of those 38 events, the dates and the locations. So head over there and check that out.
Yep. And again, thanks a bunch to Driven Racing Oil for their support. And man, I love doing the event stuff, and them being involved in so many is super cool.
Yep.
All right. We're gonna we got to kind of blast through some stuff because I want to get to Mark Campbell. So he's going to be. We're going to do 2 ad reads. J-Wire Solutions, expert car and marine wiring solutions you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, or your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience better, like the blinker module that is a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. You can find it all jwiresolutions.com. But listen, you've got to get over and subscribe. Jay has been putting out videos. I think he's put out 2 videos this week, which is really awesome. So I can't wait to see where that YouTube channel goes and all the shit I learned from it, man. Like, it's going to be really fun to see that grow and become a great outlet, because I know so many people are scared of wiring. This is going to make it easier. Like, you're going to have an easy outlet to be able to go, hey, how do I do this? He was talking about this new power relay for fans and fuel pumps. Man, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, definitely good videos, good products. Again, that video he just posted was on the water pump. I forget what he calls it, but essentially it helps, instead of doing the loop on the water pump like all of us LS guys typically do, he's got a little device that goes in there. It works great. It's got a cool video kind of explaining it. And then as many people that run the Motion Racework steering column and turn signal, drag and drive cars need a horn. So he's got a horn button bracket for that as well. I have those things for my car, and they are all great products. So
yeah, highly recommend. Super cool stuff, JR, and he's a great dude. Like,
for sure. All right, Molly Motorsports racers and high performance enthusiasts, are you ready to start your next engine build? If so, there is no better time than now to check out Molly Motorsports all-in-one Power Pack piston kits. With over 1,200 applications, these kits come complete with pistons, rings, wrist pins, and clips, all designed to work together. The Molly Motorsports Power Pack piston kits take out all of the guesswork. No more trying to determine if a piston will need this ring to work with a certain cylinder size. Molly Motorsports did all the engineering so that you can get the part that matters, building a power plant that leads to victory lane. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. And our podcast listeners, Molly is spelled Mahle.
yeah, for sure. Just this, I haven't even told Eric this. I don't even know. I don't know if he noticed my brand new Molly Motorsport hat.
I didn't.
You probably didn't. Well, you've got one too. So big shout out to Scott and the team over there. If you guys aren't following Molly, man, he is having a blast.
He
Scott,
is.
yeah. The media level at Molly Motorsport North America has elevated, and it's a blast to watch. They put out tons of good content.
Yeah, buddy. All right. So one more ad read, and then we're going to jump into Mark Campbell here. So Deechworks. Deechworks is a leading manufacturer of high-performance fuel system components. The DW product line includes fuel injectors, fuel pumps, pump modules, fuel rails, regulators, filters, lines, and fittings, plus surge tanks, all engineered to support power levels ranging from 400 to 2,200 horsepower. Since its founding, Deechworks has been committed to delivering quality, innovation, and precision to the automotive performance industry. Every DW product is built to maximize reliability and efficiency, ensuring optimal fueling solutions for race cars, tuners, and performance enthusiasts worldwide. With a focus on engineering excellence and industry-leading customer support, Deechworks continues to drive the future of high-performance fueling.
Oh, for sure. Well, listen, when Krista at Deechworks told us that Mark Campbell was on there, we're going to let Mark kind of tell his history a little bit, but I'm really excited about him being involved in this because I feel like fuel system is one of the hardest things that guys deal with. Now, the last few years have been way better, and Matt and Adam will talk more on this later, but there was like a year where everybody was like their fuel system was failing because they just couldn't handle the temperatures, all that kind of stuff. So again, drag and drive, pushing, all kinds of manufacturers forward, making these things better, getting them to where they work for all these cars, and helping a lot of people understand. And so, it's one of the biggest things we look for in sponsors is like, how can their their partnership help explain a lot of stuff, and that's what this is going to do. So I'm pumped about this. Let's bring on Mr. Mark Campbell, a guy that is drag and drive racer, obviously. Introduce yourself, tell everybody what you do, who you are, and then we're going to get into kind of some car stuff too.
I like talking cars for sure. Absolutely. So yeah, obviously, name is Mark Campbell. I work at Deechworks. I'm the director of sales there, and been in the industry for a long time. Been around cars literally my whole life. I think I started going to the drag strip with my dad when I was probably 4 or 5 or 6 years old. So yeah, it's not just a job for me. It's a lifestyle, a passion for sure.
Yeah, I would say that, and especially with what you drive, So obviously, I kind of alluded to a little bit of the car stuff, but man, tell us what that means. Like, tell us a little bit about this car, a little bit of the recap of it too.
Yeah, so really, the car was probably a byproduct of COVID. We're all home and we didn't have anything to do, and I was getting really bored, so kind of middle of 2021, I kind of was like, I think I'm going to build another car. And I really didn't need to build another car. I had a really good car already. And so started looking for something. And long story short, I actually ended up trading for this car as a bare shell of a car. Like it was literally a body with a rear end in it, and that's it. Traded for a little bit of work with a buddy of mine and started building the car. Started in October of 2021. I think middle October is when I actually got the car. That's the picture on October 17th when I got the car. And 5 months later, I had a running, driving 850 drag and drive car. Man. So it was a lot of work, but man, I had a blast. Literally built the whole car from scratch in my garage.
Yeah, I was going to say,
cool.
Yeah, did the car have a cage when you got it?
No, sir. It was bone stock. The only thing that it had, if you look in the under the front fender there, it did have a coilover shock in it. And somebody had started to pretend to put a motor plate in the car because it was going to be built into a race car, but it literally had nothing done. I mean, it's a bone stock car. And yeah.
That's pretty wild. When I got my Fox body, it was similar, but it didn't even have suspension on it. It was literally like 4 of us picked it up and walked it onto a trailer. So
yep.
That's super cool to see.
That picture right there kind of was at that point. I mean, it wasn't long after I got the car, stripped it down completely, and just had it sitting there ready to go for, got it leveled up and stuff sitting on my hoist and start doing the cage was the first thing I did and went from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about this combo here. Like what's the engine combo, turbo sizing, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. So the engine is a 427 cubic inch deal, fairly standard 125 bore, 4-inch stroke engine, 10.5 to 1 compression, has an RHS aluminum block, RHS heads on it. Really, it was designed to be exactly what it was built for, is to be an engine that would live for a long time and obviously be able to drive around on pump gas and everything like that. So what we did is when we put it together, it's got I'm going to say a smaller camshaft in it so that it drives really nice. And we kind of did something with the turbos. We put technically a little bit bigger turbocharger on it than we needed, but we wanted to try and make as much power as we could in that 12 to 16 pounds of boost range, so we didn't have to feed it a lot of boost pressure to make power. And I mean, end result is it worked perfect, because I mean, most of our drag and drive stuff, like to run 850s at 160, the car needs about 14 to 16 pounds of boost to do that. So it really runs the number pretty easily, and obviously it'll go a lot faster than 850s. But we drive it around on 91, 93 pump gas. When we go to the racetrack, we do put race gas in it. Honestly, I haven't done it yet, but I truly believe it actually will run 850s on pump gas. Wow. And that was kind of my goal at first, but then thought, let's just put race gas in it to be safe. Because sometimes, especially when you're out on a drag and drive, you don't know what kind of fuel you're going to end up getting. Mm-hmm. So you get a little bit bad tank of fuel or something. So we just didn't want to take that chance. So we do run it on race gas, but at the end of the day, it really drives around good. Even has power steering on it, so it's it's as legit a street car as you can come across, for sure.
Man, that's crazy. And going bigger on the turbo, I mean, that probably, and having the cubic inches, you really don't need that. You don't need the power to like pull the trailer and do that kind of stuff, because you're not getting into boost to do that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think that would
maybe if you're doing burnout.
Well, yeah, we hope you are. We can do it. We need limiters and third gear high speed.
Exactly.
What ECU are you running?
So we're a little bit old school there. We got a fast XFI on it, actually. I just got a ton of experience with those things over the year, and really am very familiar, and had a couple units actually. So that's why I used it, because I kind of pieced this car together with stuff that I already had. So
interesting. You pieced together an 850 car.
Well,
what other junk you got laying around?
You should come to my garage and see. I got all kinds of surprises in there.
That's awesome.
What trains are you running?
So it's a Turbo 400 with a Gear Vendors overdrive behind it.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Joe here asking, have you ever built a car from scratch before? It looks great.
Sort of, yes. I mean, I've done a lot of race cars over the years. I mean, for many, many years, my dad and I actually had our own shop and built a lot of race cars, and primarily it was a machine shop, but we built a lot of race cars. So yeah, I kind of have. I mean, we built a dragster from scratch, like literally a whole pile of tubing, and we built a dragster, and certainly have done some other stuff. Built a pro mod, actually, not quite from scratch. We had some help there from some other people, but yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a engine guy, fabricator, so fair amount of experience doing that. But this project was certainly different. I mean, I started from a bone stock bare car and built the whole thing in, like I said, 5 months, 6 months. And it's surprising, like it was a lot of work for sure, but I just made the promise to myself that I'd go out every day into the garage and do something. And it's amazing what you get done. I mean, some nights I just go out there for maybe an hour, organize parts, get the next job figured out. But always just made sure I went out and did something, and progress happened.
Oh man, yeah. So, there's nothing better than the hour a day thing.
Yeah. Well, and some days there was a lot more than an hour. I can assure you of that.
Oh yeah.
My wife will attest to that. That some mornings I went out to the garage at 7 and came in at 10, and it wasn't PM. It was 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. But but I loved it for sure.
Well, and that's what happens, right? So you get to a spot. Hey, this is going to take me 3 hours. It takes 5. But you didn't kill. It wasn't like, hey, this is going to take me 20 minutes, and it's 6 hours later, and you're frustrated. And you go in for a week and a half.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right. So why do you like DeechWorks parts for drag and drive applications?
Well, I think the first thing I want to say is I wasn't actually even working at DeechWorks when I built this car, and this car has 100% DeechWorks stuff from front to back. So, I mean, I truly do believe in the brand and the product. And the big thing that really made me want to do it is their technology and brushless pumps. We really have a lot of brushless pumps. And you kind of talked about earlier the challenges with driving in hot temperatures and things like that. That's where brushless technology is fantastic. This car, for example, it's got our 650 IL, which is an inline pump, and it has a brushless controller on it, obviously, because it's a brushless pump. And when we're cruising around, we run the pump at 50% speed. So it's got a controller on it that's basically set up to run 2 speeds. So when we're cruising, it's just on 50%. Doesn't get hot, it's pushing less fuel, obviously, still the same pressure. And then as soon as I have it triggered so that when the car gets to, I think I have it set at like 40 or 45% TPS, it triggers the second stage of the pump and goes full speed. So it works beautifully. I mean, the first few test drives that we took with the car, that was my number one concern. Like everybody is, okay, is the fuel pump getting hot? Is it, we drove around for, I don't know, pretty short drive, 20, 25 minutes, something like that, came back, put my hand on the pump. I mean, it wasn't any warmer than ambient temperature.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that's really the key is, obviously good fuel pump brushless technology. A return style system certainly helps that. But also little things like making sure you have enough fuel capacity as well, because fuel is what cools the pump. So, running with, now some guys, it's tough because, we're doing silly things with these cars, but don't put a 5-gallon cell in the car, put 10 or 15 gallons or 20-gallon cell in the car. Obviously, when you're racing, you only put 5 gallons in it. But when you're driving around, more fuel will certainly help keep that system cool, because you're constantly moving the fuel, and as it goes into the cell, back into the cell or into the tank, obviously it has a chance to cool off before it goes back through the pump, and really does help the fuel system survive.
Well, let me ask you this too. So the return style fuel system, do you recommend, like, there's a lot of guys that go to like a Corvette regulator, but for when we did my old truck, I went completely through the rails and then to like it's a turbo, but boost reference regulator after the rails, and then the return. What is something like, how do you recommend doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. The way you did it there is the best way to do it. I mean, if you can do your feed line from your pump up to the rails, split it, like put a Y and into both rails, come out the front or the back of the rails, whichever way you're plumbing it, and then into your regulator, and then one line back to the tank. That is definitely the best way. Now, sometimes there's limitations where you have to kind of loop it, but that way you're getting cool, consistent fuel through both rails at the same time. The pressure will be more consistent inside the rails as well, and then feed it out to the regulator and back to the tank.
Okay.
And that's definitely the best way to do it for sure. Why in the back, why out the front, and back to the tank.
Well, and my thought was like, I mean, we looped through the rails just because it's it's like it runs into a factory fuel rail for a LS truck. But my thought there was that it would allow us to, it would probably keep the fuel as cool as possible, because it's, I'm not like deadheading up there and it's just sitting. Not that fuel sits very long, but it's not going to be just sitting in there. We ask a lot of that little truck, and it needs all the fuel it can get. As Steven is attesting to, I'm sure right now, if he's still watching, we've got some fuel cut issues right now, so we got to get those fixed. So, well, that's cool to know that maybe we did something right on it.
Yeah, no, you were on the right path there for sure. Absolutely. The more you can just keep the fuel moving, certainly the better chance you'll have of not getting a vapor lock or, heating up the fuel pump, all those kinds of things.
Well, and I like the brushless stuff too, because I know it's probably more work, it's more expensive and all that kind of stuff. But as like Eric Engler this has probably been 5 years ago when he was at Rocky Mountain, it's in June. It's hot. They're driving at that point. They were driving like Kearney to Bandimere. So as you're doing that, and it's 114 outside, 170 in the car, and it's 200-degree fuel temp. Like he could only drive 8 or 10 or 20 miles at a time before that thing would finally just give out. And he had this gigantic fuel pump on. And we've seen guys over time now. They may run with like a small pump or like a brushless deal. So there's not just a ton of fuel being forced through that little orifice in the regulator. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the brushless technology is amazing, and I mean, even a good brushed pump, as long as it's a good piece and it's controlled properly and everything like that, will be great. But certainly, brushless pumps are the future for sure, and they run cooler. You can put more voltage to them too. I mean, that's the beauty of a brushless pump typically. I mean, you can put a voltage booster on them, or like my car, for example, I have a 16-volt battery in the car with an alternator on it. So it runs around at about 18 volts. And I'll tell you, that fuel pump loves voltage. It's happy there. And even the EFI and the ignition system and the cooling fans and everything like that extra voltage for sure. They just make it a little bit happier. But certainly, picking the right size fuel pump and plumbing the fuel system correctly is a huge deal in making these cars go for 1,000 or more miles at a time in extreme conditions. You think if you're looking at street car stuff and you're looking at like a guy like my neighbor, he has a car that probably makes 600 NA. It's a big block Mopar. He drives that car a lot, right? Feels like he drives it a lot. And he probably puts 600 miles on it in a year, but it goes to a ton of car shows, a ton of cruise nights, the cars and coffees. Like he's driving it regularly, but there's really no mileage, or he may put 1,000 on it by the end of the year. Right. We're doing that in a week. That's where, obviously quality parts make a big difference, but man, just really that second level of planning. Okay, well, let's talk about historical drag and drive stuff, because I want to know where you've been, which ones you've done, and all that kind of cool stuff.
Yeah, so obviously we built the car in 21, kind of finished it in 22, I guess, in April of 22. So we did Hot Rod Drag Week in 2022, and then we also did Hot Rod Drag Week again in 2023. My intent was to do some last year, it just didn't work out. But yeah, that's really the two that I've done. And then we've done a lot of just kind of local stuff here. I go up to the racetrack with the car once in a while. I drive it around. I mean, I do put a reasonable amount of miles on it. But those are the two primary drag and drives that I've done in the last couple of years. Hopefully we're going to get out to some more here real soon too. So.
Yeah. And 2022 was Byron and stuff, right?
Yes. Yeah. Started in St. Louis, went to Indy, Byron, Cordova, and then back to St. Louis. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, day 1 and 2, one and dones with like 8.50s, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of it's crazy, I'll tell you, because the car, we had it done, like I said, in April, but just with some challenges with work and everything else that was going on, I really didn't get it out to the racetrack until about a month before the actual drag week happened. The car had 6 eighth-mile passes on it when we showed up to drag week. And so, I mean, we pretty much knew based on what it was going to run eighth mile, it would run quarter mile, in the 850s, but you never know. So yeah, the 7th pass on the car was the first quarter mile pass we made. And it was on the test day before Hot Rod Drag Week. And we went 857 at 161 or 162. So it was right there. And then the next day, for the first day, the weather was totally different. I mean, it was pretty hot the first, on the test day.
Yep.
And then on the first day of drag week, it was like 15 degrees cooler. And I'll say this is where a little bit of luck came in, maybe some good management too, I guess. But we kind of took a swag at the tune-up, and it went 850 with a 4.
And you were like, load that son of a bitch up. Let's go.
Yep. So we loaded her up and drove to Indy. That was the first, obviously, long trip for the car too, and it just performed awesome. Got to Indy. Weather was once again completely different. We were running super early in the morning. I took a bunch of power out of it because I knew it was going to go faster, and went up there, let go of the trans brake, and the wheels were up in the air, and I'm like, oh boy, this thing's going to go way too fast. So I got to 1,000 foot, 1,100 foot, dumped it. Went 850 with a 5.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
I think at that point, everybody went, what just happened?
Yeah.
What?
Well,
What?
Yeah, it was kind of, some people were like, oh, wow, and I'm like, well, I guess I've done a lot of bracket racing over the years. So feeling the car and kind of understanding how quick it was going. Obviously, it was still a little bit of luck that we hit the 50 right on the button again. So yeah, we loaded up and went to the next racetrack.
Yeah. I think so. Robert Freund was your co-pilot then, and I think he was telling me when we were at Sick Week together that you guys were like on the road by 9:30 or 10 or something, 10:30 maybe, something like that. He's like, people were still coming in and we were leaving.
Oh yeah, the first 2 days I think people honestly hated us because we were out of the racetrack by 9:30 and getting to the hotel by like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was like, oh, this is pretty good. So
yeah. Then things changed a little bit though.
Yeah, drag week struck for sure. We had kind of one problem on the second day driving. We actually broke the hitch on the car. The roads were not good, and we broke the hitch. So we got to the parking lot. Fortunately, we had all we had the right stuff to patch it together, I guess. So we, drilled a bunch of holes and built some brackets, and we got the hitch fixed, and so it was all good. And when we got to the racetrack, we got the car all turned over and made a pass at, I guess it would have been Byron that day. And when I made the pass, got off the throttle, and we had actually kind of wrecked the hood a little bit. So I left the hood off for that run. Kind of a good thing, because when I lifted off the throttle, some oil came out of the blow-off valve. And it's like, well,
that's weird.
It's not supposed to be oil there. So the car went like an 853 or 854. So it was a decent pass for sure. But it was looked like a tractor going down the racetrack, black smoke out the back. And then obviously the oil come out of the blow-off valve. Anyways, get back, start investigating. We pulled the top of the intake manifold off because it's a 2-piece deal and the intake is full of oil. When I say full, I mean there was a quart of oil at least in the intake manifold. Long story short, it had pushed a seal out of one of the turbochargers on the drive and filled the intake full of oil. And anyways, we didn't know it until obviously we made a pass, and why would you? So we obviously cleaned everything up and unhooked the turbochargers, drove to the next track. And when we got there, we kind of, patched things together as best we could. Turbochargers were still working. Seemed like the engine was still happy. Made, I think, 2 passes at Cordova that day, and we could tell there wasn't something quite right. We actually went a 49 out of the box there, 49.5 or something. We were super close, and I was like, came back and made a second pass, and the car slowed down a bunch from where we thought it should. And it still didn't run bad. I think it went a 54 or something like that, but
Right.
it shouldn't have slowed down that much. And at the end of that run, there was a whole lot less oil pressure in the engine than it had before.
Dang it.
Yeah, long story short, I mean, when the engine ingested all that oil, it detonated the engine and knocked the main bearing out of it is what happened. So we were about to pull the plug and we're like, well, we still went a 54. I mean, our average was like still a 51 or something like that. So we're like, let's drive to the next track and see what happens. So when we left the racetrack, we had, I don't know, 30 pounds oil pressure, and it usually has like 55 or 60.
Mm.
And got back to Indy, dumped the oil out of it, got to the racetrack, dumped the oil out of it. There was a lot of stuff in the oil. It was not good. Pulled up, we made a run. I put a lot more boost into it, and it went like a 58 or a 59. It should have gone like a 30 with the amount of boost I had into it. And at the end of that run, it had a way less oil pressure than what it was supposed to have.
But hey, yeah.
And we were kind of like, crap, we're going to be out of the running now because we ran so slow. Well, long story short, they didn't finish the session because it started to rain.
Yep. Yeah, they tried to so many times, man. Everybody was like, no. No.
Because they didn't count that run, the whole session was thrown out. We still ended up with the 8:53 average. I think our average would have gone to like a 55 or something like that based on that one. But we ended up finishing third overall, and pretty cool. Certainly had some challenges, but overall we had a blast for sure. Robert was the absolute best passenger crew guy that I could ever imagine. I mean, he was just awesome. I mean, we showed up to the racetrack. Everybody knew what they had to do. We got the car turned around quick, and we just had a blast. So
yeah, he's a good dude. I got to spend quite a little bit of time with him on Sick Week with the camera in his face, telling me about all the stuff they have with the Tesla, the big block swap Tesla. Yeah. So it was pretty fun. He's a good dude.
Absolutely.
That's crazy for the first one. And then 23 went a little better. I don't think you guys had as many struggles 23, but your time was a little off, right?
Well, yeah, we did end up having a little bit of a problem. We made a couple of really good passes the first 3 days. And on the fourth day, the second last day, all of a sudden the car under full throttle wouldn't go into second gear. Like we'd put it into second gear and the RPM would just run away. Well, it turns out we broke the sprag on the second gear in the transmission. So we didn't get a very good pass on that fourth day. The last day we went to the track and I monkeyed up the shifter a little bit so I could do a 1 to 3 shift. The engine did not appreciate that at all. We still went I think we went a 58 or something like that. I just kept feeding it power. I think we made like 3 or 4 runs that day. The first one was like a 70 something, and we just kept feeding it more power, but it just didn't like being shifted from first to third. So unfortunately that kind of put us back a little bit because we ended up turning in a 58 or something that day and kind of threw us back quite a ways. And the day before, I think we only ran like a 920 or something like that. So unfortunately, I think we were a 52 or a 53 again before that, but that one day when we didn't know what was wrong with the transmission at the time, so we're like, well, let's just get to the next track and at least finish. And then on the drive, I was calling my buddy Jeff Reed at TCI, and he's like, "Yeah, I think this is what's wrong." And so he's like, "Yeah, you're not going to hurt anything." He said, "Just 1-3 shift it." And I'm like, "All right." So
okay,
yep, it worked, but definitely had to. Didn't get the results we wanted, but we still had a blast for sure. So
heck yeah.
That's awesome. So for Mega Week or Six Summer, do you have a couple tips for the racers just to keep their fuel cool on a summer day and a drag and drive?
Definitely when you're driving, try and keep that tank as full as you can. I mean, that's going to be a big deal for sure. Stop. Most of the guys want to stop a fair amount anyways, just to cool themselves off.
Right.
But yeah, every time you stop, put fuel in it. I mean, keep the fuel tank full and that'll make a big difference for sure. And certainly, when you're plumbing the fuel system and stuff like that too, just be very cautious of where your fuel lines are running. Keep them away from exhaust. Heat wrap anything if you like the exhaust or something like that. If it gets close, don't wrap the fuel line itself. Try and wrap the hot thing that's beside it. Keep the heat from getting into that because unfortunately, heat wrap if you wrap like the fuel pump or the fuel filter or the lines, sometimes it actually keeps the heat in the lines. So I always try and recommend people to heat wrap the hot thing, not what you're trying to keep cold.
Good idea.
That's kind of, couple basic tips that hopefully should help people not have fuel system problems.
Right. And then for inline pumps, I would think definitely fuel level is always a plus. You don't want to have that thing getting some air, but then also like if you're next to your exhaust, maybe would a heat shield help as well? I mean,
for sure. Yeah. Yeah, if you can do like a tin heat shield, something that creates that air gap between the hot thing and the shield, and then whatever you're trying to keep cool, makes a big difference. Deflecting that heat, even putting, something shiny on the hot side, like tinfoil even works. I mean, it reflects heat. So, and there's lots of great heat shield products out there, of course. Like, I mean, we have some stuff too that we sell, but there's a ton of different things out there that are really good heat wrap, heat insulator, shield type things. And anything you can do, even if it seems like it's minimal, it will help for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that gives me some stuff to kick around for sure. All right, Eric, I think we're probably gonna have to leave with this last little bit here. I've jabbered along, but that gives us more stuff to talk about on the next time you're on.
Absolutely, love to come back for sure.
Yep. So let's talk about the potential of late model cars. I'll let Eric take this one here.
All right. So we were kind of talking a little bit before the show even, but with the potential of late model cars, when do you think we're going to see more kind of 3 to 5 year old cars start coming to the front of these classes?
I think very soon. You're kind of starting to see it a little bit already, but I mean, with the technology that's out there, obviously engines are so much better, whether it's a Coyote or an LS or a Gen 3 Hemi or whatever, the engines are awesome, but the technology and like even our fuel systems, I mean, we have these drop-in modules now that will hold 2 or 3 pumps that'll support, 2,000 horsepower, and you can use a stock tank, and it's just incredible. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to start seeing a lot more Corvettes, Camaros, Mustangs, the newer ones. Obviously the Chargers and Challengers are super popular cars. Now that Dart's got a real good block for those things too. I mean, guys are starting to make a lot more power, and those cars will run 8s all day long. So yeah, I think you're going to start to see a bunch more what I'm going to call true non-gutted type, late model cars that weigh 3,500 to 4,000 pounds that are out there making 15, 16, 1,800 horsepower with, stock tanks and stuff like that. It's really incredible what's out there now for sure. So the modules are super popular.
And, as you were saying that, I was thinking like, a new car can go 9.0 pretty easy with, without a cage. It'll go 9.0 without a cage. And so for guys that are in some of these classes, I mean, like that would win a few classes if somebody slipped up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't take long to knock your average a little bit, guys that are running real close to the 50s if they have a bad run or two. So yeah, you can show up and run 9.0s and not only just have a whole bunch of fun, because you're probably driving a car with air conditioning and, power windows and everything like that. Yeah. But yeah, you're doing it with a pretty stock type chassis and just turbocharged, supercharged, some nitrous on it, whatever. And yeah, you can run 9s or high 8s easily.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah. Letitia Hughes is a great example of Felicia Smith. Those ladies run late model stuff, Sharon Klausner, late model cars that are going very fast, 9.0s with no cages and stuff like that. Just, man, it's super cool. And I don't think we've seen quite the jump to that yet for the drag and drive community. I think we're probably still a lot of old school car guys. We like a classic car and we want to build something we want. I mean, there's a ton of LS swaps or, Coyote swaps, things like that in the older cars. Or Gen 3 Hemi stuff is really becoming popular. But I think as we move and get some of these younger people involved, I think we're going to see some of that. We're going to see that late model car that, anymore, like you should be scared of just a full bolt-on car.
Oh, yeah.
Mustang with a blower is scary,
They're fast. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much. You take a new Coyote Mustang and put a blower on it. I mean, you can make 800 horsepower pretty easy, and those cars are fast, real fast. So
yeah, that's for sure. Well, where can we see you next? What's going on in your life? What do you got up?
Well, if it doesn't rain this weekend, you might find me at Holly Springs making a couple laps in the drag and drive car. That's my plan. It's ready to go. I'm not sure we're going to get any nice weather to cooperate with that, but definitely going to try and do some local stuff. There's some mean street races, like it's a 510 to 530 index type thing in the 8th mile. So going to try and do some of those. And I don't think I'm going to make it to a drag and drive this year, but I think that Sick Week potentially is on the docket. I put my name in for the, expression of interest or whatever already for that one, and maybe another one too. We'll see. But yeah, definitely want to try and get out to some drag and drives. This year, I think I'm just going to go out and have some fun with the car and actually try and make it go faster. Right. I've never really tried to make it go much faster than 850s, 540s in the 8th mile or whatever. So a couple weeks ago, we went out and laid down some 5.0s at medium boost. So
that's crazy.
I think we should be able to get the thing into the 4s. I think pretty easy and not bad for a all steel, all glass car that weighs 3,400 and change with an overdrive in it. So
the next question then is: are we going to see you do some rowdy radial stuff? You're going to throw that thing on a 235 and maybe let it eat in the 8th?
I have a soft spot for the little tires because for probably 6 or 7 years, a series that I was racing with my other car, we did a 26x85 slicker radial type deal. And so I have a pretty good understanding of how to make those little tires work. So yeah, I would say there's a good chance. And that might even happen at Sick Week too. We might do the rowdy radial deal just to do something different than the 850 class. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I do like going fast, so we might put some little tires on it and turn it up.
We'll bring it on. Well, Mark, hey, I appreciate you coming on here tonight and give us some info. And listen, now that everybody knows who you are and all that kind of stuff, and the car you drive and all that, this is like the introductory for everybody. The next one, we're going to go real deep. So we're going to, I have so many questions for you as far as like when we begin to put Eric's car together and kind of the plan for all that and why. How to pick the right fuel pump is really the question I have, but I don't want to get into that right now because that's a deep one. So, thanks for coming on tonight. Thanks for doing that. I love that you're now at DeechWorks. Is going to give us a great opportunity to really pick your brain, and you're such a smart dude. So this is going to be a lot of fun.
Well, thank you very much, and yeah, love helping out my race car friends for sure. And if you got any questions, you got my number, give me a call anytime. But yeah, I'd love to be back on the show and talk a lot more about fuel systems and what it takes to make a 850 car go 850 over and over and drive at 1,000 or so miles and make it live.
Yeah, because we didn't even talk about injectors, so we'll get into that next time. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much, guys. All right,
see you.
Awesome, dude. I'm telling you that DeechWorks being a part of the program here is going to be great for not only us as we begin to put Eric's car together for drag and drive stuff, and we begin to lean on the old truck a little bit. The video Stephen posted it on Narcoleptic. If anybody has seen that, we need to kind of we're either at the limit of the injectors or at the limit of the pump, and that thing paints 2 black lines really, really well. So if we can make it do that better, that's what I need. And so we're going to, this gives us an opportunity to learn and gives everybody out there an opportunity to learn too. So if you have some questions for Mark or anyone at DeechWorks, man, hit us up, let us know. We'll get you in contact with them either with the phone number or an email, or we'll just start a group message with them on Facebook. So, all right, sweet. Again, thanks a bunch to DeechWorks. Appreciate them coming on and being just a part of the program here. I mean, it's a big deal to let everybody have all that stuff. Red Hat Scotty, still waiting on the old truck burnout video. Yeah, I have not been out to Stephen's house, but most likely will this weekend. And if you're not following Narcoleptic Customs, you need to do that. I had Stephen posted up the video on it. It's just he grabbed his neighbor in the passenger seat. They took a video of a big roller and probably 150, 200 foot rolling burnout in second gear. And that's what that truck was built for. So we're working through some suspension pieces. We're probably going to put a 4-link on it after the circuit and then let that thing eat a little bit, maybe do some trans brake 2-step stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. All at once an 1199 and an 1,100 foot burnout.
It's definitely cool to see that thing on the road again. And it's been so long.
It makes me feel like a piece of crap for not getting it together. All right, let's get to this. Guys, thank you so much for being our race car friends. We appreciate we've had great views tonight. We've had great comments tonight, and we're just getting rolling here. I'm telling you, I see Matt and Adam both backstage. This is going to be a blast. So if you haven't done it yet, please, please, please hit the share button. Keep us rolling here. And then thank you so much to our sponsors. Summit Racing, big part of the show, obviously a big part of not just, being here for this stuff, but being here when we have questions and going to drag and drive events. So Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Deechworks, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk Classifieds. We cannot do it without all of them. And y'all know the deal. Here's what it is. Gentleman's agreement. Okay. We love doing this. Eric and I live, eat, breathe, sleep, drag and drive stuff. We love doing it. We know you love watching it. So as part of your love for that, hit the follow or subscribe button wherever you're at right here. And then we'll just keep up on this side. That's the gentleman's agreement. We can't verify that you do it. So just do it, wherever you're watching this at. We're so close to 100,000, dude. I feel like that's like this number that is so elusive that social media is just playing with me at this point. They're playing. We're like hundreds away from 100,000 total followers. So we need you guys. That's what I'm saying. All right. And then PowerTube TV. These guys, man, they make it possible for us to bring drag and drive content to more people because we post it on their platform as the content creator development program. And you can watch this show, exclusive stuff I put out for them over there on their YouTube channel, but also on the app. So if you're not getting the app, you need to do it now. They've got like 7 different channels within the app that you can watch on your smart TV or on your phone or on, whatever, on the website, whatever. PowerTube TV, go follow them. Brian and Ray they're masters at that stuff. And they've got Pastime and new episodes of Pinks that are coming out for 2025. And we all know that's what really, for anybody that's like 35 to 55, bro, that's our heart, man. We you love watching Pastime, and I can't wait to see this new level of Pastime. Think about 15, 18 years ago, a car that ran 10s you probably knew it ran 10s. A car that runs 8s now just idles in traffic, has cooled seats and it's going to be badass to watch that. So, all right. If you'll read us play us the WAF Racing video, we'll get kicked off here and bring in Adam and Matt.
Sounds good.
Have you ever wished you could fit your toolbox in the palm of your hand, or really needed that extra set of hands while making a jet change at the track? At WAF Racing, we specialize in designing and manufacturing top-tier automotive tools that are made strong to withstand travel, yet lightweight not to slow you down. Tested in-house and at the track by the team at WAF Racing, every part is made by racers for racers. From compact toolkits, carburetor top hats, or spark plug storage containers, our tools are precision engineered and manufactured in the USA. Made of the strongest materials, every piece strikes the perfect balance of durability and dependability. Maybe you need something custom just for you. We do that too. You need WAF Racing in the passenger seat for your next drag racing event. Head over to wafracing.com today to take your racing experience to the next level. WAF Racing. Design, build, race.
All right, I see Adam's comment here. It says I stole some beers from that dude. You probably didn't have to steal them. He offered them openly.
He did, but for video, for the viewer, I said, I'm going to steal these on camera. And he was
That's
like,
awesome.
Come back and get as many as you want.
Yeah, I love Chris. He's so cool. He's one of the coolest dudes out there.
And he outed me as a closet Mopar guy as well.
Dude,
because
when
he was
you're
like,
around that
he was
car,
like, this thing's
so
got
cool.
a 408 stroker. And I was like, oh, that's a 360 that's 30 over with a 4-inch crank. And he was like,
why do you know that? That's so cool. Yeah, he's a great dude. And that car, man, one of my favorites, man. One of my favorites.
Yeah, you got to love a CUDA.
Well, and he drives it all the time, like all the time. And then he took his WAF Racing 3D scanning skills and scanned the inside and sent that to a roll bar guy or a fabricator and they made it to those specs and it fit.
Awesome.
Badass. Okay, guys, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and how cool you are.
Hey, Adam. You go first.
So let me introduce Matt. So Matt's the dude, man. The guy behind Rocky Mountain Race Week. He thought this up on the way back from Drag Week in 2014. Did it out of his own pocket for a number of years, and it gained some traction. And it was the second one on the market, and it was the spin-off event for a long time. And then when 50 of them were around, all of a sudden it was the second coolest one on the planet, in everyone's world, and in a lot of people's world, the first coolest one on the planet. And that's the dude behind it. And I owe him a career. I owe him a lot of awesome nights of sitting around with a handful of us. And that dude's a jam. I'm a good friend of his. He's a good friend of mine, and yeah, man, he's that dude right there is the dude.
No more piggyback promoter. We've been doing it long enough. I'm not a piggyback promoter no more.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. On top of that, this dude's got a car that can run at the top of an ultimate iron category in any event. He's got a 6-second, 200-mile-an-hour car. So this is a put your money where your mouth is. Buy racers, for racers, and we prove it. And the first one of those out there he is right there, with the Hulk car, and fresh off of what looked like an awesome tri-state showing.
Yeah,
out there. You had a bunch of drag and drive dudes out there.
Yeah. That picture was actually the first. That was probably, I think that's Joe Barry's car in the background. So that was 2015. That was the first deal right there.
Yep.
Yeah. I snuck around and grabbed a bunch.
That's awesome. That year I did the whole event with no trailer. It was a 7-something average. We went 199 at Bannermere there, and me and Joe Barry drove 90% of the route in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got home, just a side note, when we got home from that event, we thought we were in mud, and we turned out that we were in cattle crap behind the cattle haulers. And I think for 2 more years, I was cleaning crap out of the bottom of the floorboards of my car. So,
and that first event had 60 people,
64 cars,
64. And when I talk about doing this in the red, you were trying to win your own event because you couldn't afford to pay the guy that won the event. You were coming out of pocket hardcore. On that deal. You were like, hey, Larry Larson, I got something for you. And unfortunately he ended up beating you out on that deal. But
I think it was Larry and Doug and I were like 2,000ths or something of a second difference for second place. So, and then he went and parked his car in the sandbox, and he thought that I was going to get it back together. So he was all worried, but I'd already done broke. So
right. Yeah.
Well, hey, and you said something earlier. You said that he gave you a career, dude. He kind of gave me a career too, to be honest. Like 2020 was my first race week. So without race week, dude, I'd have done this at some point, but it wouldn't have been like what I do now yet.
And that's another good point. Race week, Rocky Mountain Race Week, the race week event started on 2020, but Matt threw 2 events in 2020 when most people threw 1.
Yeah, and he threw one. Put it together, I think, in 4 days.
It was a couple of weeks, but it was quick. It was super fast, and what was cool was that was all 2014 Drag Week tracks. It was intended to be a Drag Week replacement race. We were in fact looking for. I was up at Douglas, racing up there with a couple of buddies, and I found the routes from 2014, and I sent them to him while I was up there. And I was like, we can do the exact same thing if you want, whatever. But yeah, dude, I mean, a dude that same deal. I mean, in the face of the world shutting down, this guy puts on his big boy panties, and we do it twice. And that was also gangster.
Yeah. So think about this as we look, like, obviously I'm digging history stuff now. I really like that. Right. So you go, 2005 to 14, Matt does Drag Week. 2015, huge year. You have Rocky Mountain Race Week, you have Drag Week, you have One Guy's Garage Drag Weekend starts. So now, like that's the end of the first decade. Matt really kicked off to, in my opinion, the second decade of Drag and Drive. Now we're at the end of the second decade of Drag and Drive, 2024. And we're going into 25, and he's fixing to just blow the top off of it again. So yeah, I see Trevor Brandon saying 2020 Race Week was my first event. Man, it really did change a lot. And listen, we're going to kind of pat your back a little bit here for a little bit, Matt. But that event was one that was a big change for me, because Jonathan Stonecipher had always told me I would love doing this, but I never knew it would be like what it is. Like Race Week, really, if it had not been close, dude, I don't know how long it had taken me to get involved. Again, I would do this that I'm doing right now, but without Race Week 2020, it wouldn't be where we're at. That's for sure.
Well, and that was a crazy time. I mean, everybody was, not to say that we're like firefighters or whatever, but we're running towards the problem instead of running away from it. And I couldn't see it. I mean, I'd seen everybody was so scared of their own shadow and running from everything, and everything like, man, we can't live in the freaking house. Like, we got to do something. And it was just so crazy, because for us that did that, nothing was different for us, and we had a little bit of kind of stuff that we had to deal with, but the tracks were super cool. They're like, let's do this. And when we put it together, it was probably one of, like, I don't know, it was so cool to put something together and for us to go do what we did, and everybody else is freaking out. We're out here doing what we normally do, just living our lives. And that's truly how I felt about it. Like, I knew that, sometimes you just feel things, and something was wrong with what was going on with that deal, and us being out there and actually be able to do this. And, at the time I think we were still a sour taste in a lot of the drag weekers or drag hot rodders' mouths, so I don't think they wanted to kind of accept it. Some of them did, and they've been with us ever since, but it was truly just to put something together for them so that they had somewhere to go. Like, hey, we can do this. We can pull this off. We're going to pull some of our people. But I mean, we gave them first shot at the deal. If they had a ticket already, we gave them first shot to come do this. And it was just supposed to be a one-time deal, but everybody was so excited about it and, amped up about it. You couldn't not make it happen every year. So.
And it was kind of cool that the logistics worked good, because Matt had at that point 5 years of really good relationships with those same 1.0 tracks. So he had a really good, kind of stepping stone to go out, into the unknown, if you will, and take a little bit of a chance. And who doesn't like a guy that takes a bit of a chance in the middle of everything? And I mean, we got some weird looks going into hotels and stuff. I mean, it was weird. Yeah. Like, people weren't staying in hotels at that point, really. And whatever, dude, we were just walking in, and everyone had their stupid T-shirt masks on, and
we were wearing the big old FU on the back of it.
Yep. But the spectators came out. It was like people needed something to do, and it was gangster. It was super cool. And even Kyle afterward was like, dude, if anyone got sick, let us know. We're gonna, we want to make sure our people are cool, because we're all, we're all living too. We don't want to pass around a thing or whatever, but it worked out great, man. It was super cool.
Well, and go ahead. Well, I was going to say, one thing that's been great has been just the opportunity to grow 250 more people a year in an event that really probably wouldn't have hosted in the middle of the country like that. Like, Drag Week moves around, typically stays east of the Mississippi. At that point, Rocky Mountain was in the mountains. Like, it was a needed event here in the Texas, Oklahoma area.
Right.
Sure. Right. Well, and I think too, even that's where the need for even 1.0 was. It wasn't. I mean, there was some bad blood there for a while with Drag Week, because we started it or whatever. But the biggest part of that is and I'm not bashing them, but the truth is that things kind of got out of hand. You've seen it kind of come back to where it was back in the day, but Drag Week kind of got out of hand in the sense of it was so much about pushing the envelope on the magazine and everything else that now we started into pro mods and fiberglass bodies. And, let's just be honest, there was some stuff that was going on that probably shouldn't have been going on, and it was being allowed. And, for a guy that showed up, with a true intention of a steel body car to go do this and then see what was going on. It was just like, and then there was just some things about it. I'm like, man, you know what? We need to try to do something with this at home. I think, and initially it was your own sandbox, your own friends. And then it turned into the family side of it. Like that's where it molded, and that's where it became, put as much time and energy into it as you can and try to mold this into a deal where, it's something that people can do with their kids and, sightseeing, the vacation side of that kind of came into play. Yet you still had some of the, for a lot of years, we had some of the baddest cars in the country coming to play with us and lay down those numbers. And, it was exciting times. At the same time, it was rough. It was hard to do. It was, I don't think we probably didn't sell out till our third year. And, I think probably till the fourth or fifth year did I start breaking even and actually be able to make it to where I felt comfortable with it. And a lot of people don't know the rough part about that is right around 2015, 16 time frame. That was right after they kind of shut down all the oil field stuff and pulled all the permitting and whatnot. And, I lost my business during that time frame. So there was a lot of things that were going on in that time frame for me. And for us to hold this together, I had a lot of people in my ear telling me, keep doing it. It's going to turn into something great. But there was a lot of things that were against us. We could have gave it up very easily because of so much was going on in our lives. But, it's been a hell of a ride with the many people that we've, seen grow, as many people that we have as far as, I can't say that everybody's your best friend, but a lot of people in this country, the world because of this. And that goes for us too. Like, I don't know everybody's name, but I don't forget a face. And it's just crazy that, every year it blows my mind. And that's kind of where for us every year, you kind of like, man, it's a lot of work. Should we keep doing it? But when you spend that time with those people for a week, which seems like a month, it just rejuvenates yourself as far as, mankind and the human nature of people. So.
Yep. One name that always sticks out to me is the Wendy and Lewis Martin and their son, Austin.
Real one.
Austin was a kid. I mean, a kid when he started doing all that stuff. And now, he's an adult.
That's the best part of this, I think. And especially from the beginning is watching families grow. Dude, Cole Reynolds was like 13 on the first race week. First Rocky Mountain race week when he was riding with Daphne in the wagon. Dude, he was just a little twig, nothing, little quiet, whatever. And, watching him grow up and he's getting ready to have his own kid now. That stuff is great. And bringing in like Junior Street, that stuff is amazing. It's going to be cool watching these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids get in their own cars and start, it's such a cool deal. And having it in June, obviously Matt and June had their kids. So they had to have their kids out of school. So all these other people start bringing their kids. And it, it became a thing. Like you got to watch all these kids grow up and look at Blaine, for crying out loud. That kid was, 8 years old, nothing, whatever. And now he's stick shifting in his own stuff. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
a lot of youngins that are going to be, the next Taylors and, Garrett's and just, there's so many of these kids, you can already see some of that following that's going that way, so it's just super cool to watch that and whatnot.
Yeah. So this came across. So again, I looked up Rocky Mountain Race Week, scheduled sorted the post by 2015. This one came up. Look at that youngster right there.
Yep.
Hilarious.
Yeah. And this is before Cletus actually. He was born in Pueblo. This is at Vandermeer here. So I think the next night, Cletus was born.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So this is pre-Cletus. This is Garrett Mitchell, who's doing 1320's Instagram page that got an invite to go to Rocky Mountain Race Week. And now that dude owns a couple of helicopters, his own racetrack, a pro mod. Dude, the power of the race, the racing community and the racing. This is it right here. This is one day from that dude on his way to being a jillionaire and the biggest YouTube sensation in the automotive industry. That's pretty sweet.
How cool. And then Nick Pluniak in the whatever he calls
the
this
stretchy
thing,
truck.
Stretchy truck. Yeah, this thing was crazy. Like, man, there were some really cool cars, and to think that that's 10 years ago, dude.
Yep.
It's wild. But yeah, I went back. I highly recommend that for folks. Man, there's so many good shots from the early days of this when people are out there getting, they're just, I mean, to Joe Barry's car, we hadn't seen that in a few years. I love that car. If you don't
Rumor
love that
has
car,
it that he has acquired Lenco and a clutch for that car again.
oh, bring it on. That's awesome.
And he still has not gone faster with an automatic in that car than he has with a Lenco. That car's been fastest with a Lenco ever. Quickest and fastest.
Oh, look, there's rain in that picture. It's like it rained the whole entire time.
It rained the whole freaking time. It rained like hell.
Oh, man.
Yeah. That's so fun. And then I caught this. Like, what a cool shirt, man.
And the remake of that shirt is out right now.
Yep.
You can buy that on the Rocky Mountain Race Week website right now.
How cool. And, one thing, like, look at the number of sponsors on there now. And I wish I'd pulled a shirt from the last 2 years or something. But, there's 3 times the sponsors that are on there.
Well, and look at the sponsors that are on there now. Look at the size of sponsors. There's, I can, 1320 is a national sponsor. That might be it. These are all local. Oh, Innovators West. But I think everybody else is, and Bang Shift, everybody else is local, like Denver sponsor. Yep. These are friends of Matt's that have, okay, I'm gonna do what I can to help you out. That used to be friends of Matt's.
I mean, in a sense of like, sometimes you got to fake it to make it to a certain degree. And so some of that stuff it may have been somebody that I spent some money with on a car and they did good service. And I think people forget that. And I seen something the other day, I know it's off topic, but I seen something the other day where a guy was talking about, well, why would I put put a sticker of a guy's product on my car if he didn't give me nothing and didn't give me any money? And I said, well, you're looking at that the whole wrong way here. If they gave you good service and they give you a good part, why don't you start with putting the sticker on your car first? And then they might notice you and actually put money into it because now you've done them a service. Like, people get kind of confused on how that's supposed to work, and it floors me. But that's a lot of what we've done over the years. With me, a lot of time I promote stuff because of the service or because of the product or whatever. And you'd be amazed on how many times you get a phone call saying, hey, you know what, we'll give you a percentage off or do this or that, because you already started that relationship prior. And so keep that in mind if you're out there trying to get sponsorship. Put those stickers on your car if you're using their product, because you never know, especially like when contingency and all that stuff comes out. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk, like, what were the first tracks that you guys used?
That was Bannermere, Great Bend, and then I think Julesburg. No, not Julesburg. Kearney and Pueblo. Those were our 4 right there. Yeah.
So as you're looking, I mean, this is a long time ago, but as you're looking at stuff, you come back, you've told this story a bunch. It was kind of a napkin in a parking lot after drag week. But then you get home and you start looking at that, like, and you start like kind of doing the math on, like, man, this may be the baddest fucking event ever because of the mileage.
Well, and actually to back it up one step, so drag week was in September. He had an event in June, so it was 8 months for an inaugural event that he turned around and made happen. That's pretty spectacular in anyone's book. So kudos on that as well, dude.
It was just a lot of, we were in the garage. It was me, it started, like I said, at the we were sitting in a diner and Darce was there and I think Brandon was there and Zach and, a bunch of those guys. And we kind of just talked about it, and so on the way home, I'm starting to think. So I'm on the way home from drag week and I'm already picking up the phone, calling people like Larry and Larson and some of those guys. I'm like, hey, if I put something together, you guys want to come? And it was so cool how many of those guys were willing to support something different. I think they were kind of in the spot where they needed something fresh at the time too. And so we came home and it was me and Brent and Zach sitting in June's garage. We weren't even at my house. I was working on my car in her garage because we were building a house here or whatnot. But we just got a notepad and started writing down classes. And it was kind of like, Zach was like, we need to do some radio classes. So that was kind of how the radio side of that went. And we started out with the day stuff. You know, that was where we're like, we'll do it with the day and kind of figure it out. And I started calling people that I knew and said, hey, you know, you guys want to put the money towards this? We're thinking that this, I didn't know where it was going to go. Hell, I didn't even know who was going to make it off the ground after the first one. But it was a challenge to me to try to do it. And it was really crazy. And then, you know, after the first year or so, we kind of realized, hey, I don't remember when we actually started the drive days, but it was like, hey, this is such a long drive. I mean, I had a guy come in. I don't remember exactly who it was, but we're at the hotel. I'm like, well, how did it go? And he was pretty upset. He's like, I don't treat rental cars as bad as we put this thing through right now, you know? And I started laughing. And so it kind of was the thought process of, let's start doing drive days. And that part really changed things. And then as that kind of evolved, then the night stuff started coming into play, because I started looking at it as, hey, people are going to get off of work. The other part of it is I know doing day stuff, like you can be tired driving, but you're not going to be tired when you get to the racetrack to race.
Yeah,
so
right.
That dynamics, plus on top of that, the other part of that is during the whole entire day, people are open. When you're driving at night, if you left and you're driving at night like we normally would have done, if you break down at midnight and you know that you got to get something from the parts store, you got to wait till 7 or 8 o'clock for that parts store to open. Now you can roll into any place. They can come out and do whatever they need to do to take care of you, and then you still can make it to the track at night. So that was kind of how the dynamics changed. And the other thing for me that was a big deal was, if you notice right off the get-go, co-pilots got T-shirts for us. Right. There was something for me that when you only got, the driver only got a shirt, and the guy that's over here basically busting his ass to, you know, make sure this car's running, keep you awake and do whatever, he don't get nothing. So that was my first thing, was like, hey, we got to make this so that guy, it may not have meant a whole lot to a lot of people, but for me, their first shirts were co-pilot and co-pilot. That's exactly how we printed them out, as of who's for what, you know. And so there was just a lot of that thought process of what's going to make this unique in its own way. I mean, there's a lot of the stuff that, you know, you spin off of what Drag Week was doing, but there were so many things with our rules and our classes and the radio class. I mean, look what the radio class has done up to this point since it started. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, that 8th mile class and with Sick picking that up and kind of running with that and doing it, you know, in January, February with Mineshaft Air and with short drives, gangster.
Oh, that's for sure.
I actually cornered Zach at PRI, and I was like, how cool is it that you're like this event that you were like, we should do a little 8th mile small tire radial class. Like, how cool is it that class has become what it's become? And he's like, it's amazing to kind of have my fingerprints all over a bunch of that stuff. That's a pretty cool deal for him to hang his hat on. That, you know, it's always been quarter mile, always. And, you know, wait, let's do 8th mile, but let's put a little bitty tire. And he, like, Zach wanted to do hard tire. Like, that's his move. That dude's a hard tire dude. And he's been quick on a hard tire before too. Yep. Like, don't get it twisted. But that was a pretty cool deal to have him. And that, like I said, talk to him a little bit at PRI, and he's like, dude, that's like, you know, it's almost like your baby, and now your baby is 10.
Well, they were super young. They were just little kids too. I mean, I say little kids, but I don't think they were over. Him and Brent probably weren't 20, 21 years old. Maybe.
Right. They were the flat brim mafia. They were the flat brimmers.
That's awesome. Well, I want to talk about, you said something a while ago talking about the night racing. I preach this all the time. You driving to the track to race keeps your adrenaline and motivation up. So if you're driving during the day to get to the track, you get that second wind. Races that race early morning, now I get it probably goes faster, or it's easier, but man, driving all day to get to the track and race is, in my opinion, the way to do it. One, it brings more spectators out, but then two, man, you just keep your people elevated. Like, there's so much adrenaline that's spent at a track trying to get that best pass, and then you get on the road and it's hot and it's tiring and you're already wiped out. So I mean, that's part of the struggle too. I get it, but that driving to get to the track and race at night, oh man, and it's the opposite. It only gets better.
The cool thing with night racing is it kills the one and done. You drive to race. There's people that are there. I mean, yelling and bitching and moaning and whining about not getting more passes. We've given them. I think guys have had 5 and 6 passes with sellouts. And that's with doing normal class calls. Before we had the all run that we would call in for the last little bit. And I mean, Ernie's had. I think Ernie, when we were doing that, had like 28 or 30 passes. Ernie's got the hot rod in the 14.0 class. And that dude is a bracket racer extraordinaire. P.S. Don't let him fool you. But he made like 30 passes at Great Bend in a night with that car, round robin in that car. But even just like I said, calling class calls, we will have the lanes 100% packed at that last call, and that is what makes it different. It's driving to race, not racing to drive.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
And just the whole atmosphere at the starting line, because they know that they've got that night. Most of the time you go to the hotel that evening, right? So some guys get worried and they leave, but they're going to go to the hotel. They're not rushing to get out of there. They're staying to see what's going on, and they're waiting. And you know that you better get that first pass in the morning, right when you get there with the heat, to get one laid down, because some guys not done that before and they've screwed themselves. But get that first one. It's going to be a crappy pass probably, but you got that one ticket, and then you're waiting for it to cool. And once it starts getting cooler, then they start coming out, and this guy's sitting here waiting for that guy to see what he's going to do, and it just kind of snowballs into everybody is still there collectively at the track at the end of the night. If you ain't done it, you don't understand how exciting that is. Right. The people that have been there to do it, and people get it all twisted too. They're like, well, it doesn't make no sense. If I actually had a guy told me there ain't no way this is going to work with you doing this at night. Absolutely told me. He's like, you're an idiot. There's no way this night racing's going to work. It's the stupidest thing you ever, and he's one of my haters that's always on there all the time, which is fine. I smile every time I think about that it worked.
Exactly. Yeah. While you're standing there at midnight and there's still 200 racers at the racetrack.
Yeah. But it works really well. And if you think about the thought process of, the shops being open and people, I think, get mixed in their head that it's going to be less drive time for them if they do it this way. It's not. It's no different. You're just changing the hours of what you're doing. That's all.
And you can leave early and drive in the cool as well.
Yeah.
That's what Steven does. He loves to drive, and he'll drive all night long. Sleep for 5-6 hours before the track even opens up.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a
and
bunch
on
of
top
folks
of that, you get so many spectators. Way more spectators. There was a Tuesday night I remember at Bandimere. I want to say it was 19 or something like that, and there was a picture of us in the middle of the night. It was maybe 21. It was after COVID, but those stands were packed, and the parking lot was packed, and it was like a Tuesday night. And it was streetcar stuff. That was pretty sweet. Typically Wednesday night is their test and tune night, and it is barren. There's racers there, but there's no one there watching. It was a whole different thing that night. That's when I kind of realized, like, there's something going on here. This is just more than us hanging out with our buddies. Like, this is this is sweet. This is sweet.
Yeah. Trevor Brandon, night racing is so cool. Fireballs.
His car shoots some amazing fireballs, and then people take cover at the starting line when he takes off.
Well, another thing that I think that was, innovative in our, and I don't ever want to take credit for something, but I think we allowed people to come and film their stuff and take pictures and be social media. I think that's where we changed that market, where it wasn't just the magazine was the only one that could come in and do this. We allowed everybody to come to do their YouTube, do everything that they did. And so instead of it just being a couple guys know about this whole deal, all of a sudden overnight, I mean, obviously Garrett helped with that, 1320, all those guys helped with it. But the way that it blew up to where now all the masses all over are starting to understand what it's about, where before it was kind of almost like a private club before. And
it was fully a private club.
Once you started allowing these guys, and they're like, well, why are you not doing all this stuff? And, maybe I missed the boat by us not doing our own recordings and doing all that stuff. That's not me. I wanted everybody to be able to do their own thing. And if you worked, if you made money off it or do whatever, all I looked at it was that was better for us too, because it brought those people into us. And it was a huge, in my opinion, that was a huge movement of how everything started to change, at least in the automotive world of, influencers and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome. Well, one last question here. So, Eric, go ahead, and then we'll start out with my question.
I was just going to say, we got to take a pause here and do an ad read, and then we'll get back to some of the questions here. All right. Performabuilt is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performabuilt Transmissions, the goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performabuilt doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That's why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are Performabuilt. So appreciate Performabuilt for being on board.
Yeah, I love Ryan and the team over there, and he is fired up on some social media lately. All right, so I want to talk about promotion, because had you promoted before? And second part of the question, how is promoting for you now different than what it was 10 years ago?
I don't think I did. I did help put some stuff on over the years. I did a car show. I helped when we had a big flood deal here and helped put a car show on to raise money and stuff like that. Obviously we were doing before this, not very far before this, but we did the Street Outlaws and stuff like that. So I'd been exposed to some of this stuff, but as far as a promoter goes, I had no idea what I was doing. I don't know, for me, I guess that doesn't change much. I'm just me, I still make mistakes. But I am who I am. Like if you accept who we are, you accept that I'm passionate about what I do. You might get yelled at once in a while if you're doing something wrong or whatever, but I've always been there for our racers, and that's how I sell myself. I'm still not a promoter. I'm just a guy that works on hot rods. I'm a truck driver, and I facilitate a race for everybody else to come have fun at, because it's your race. I'm just the one facilitating it. It's everybody else's as far as I'm concerned. I'm hired to do the job to make sure you guys get what you want out of it. And I keep that in mind with everything I do. I keep that in mind with, I want to know if something's bad. I want to know if, we've made changes over the years because of complaints and stuff like that, where, people felt like we were being biased and whatnot. That never was the case. It just gets overwhelming as a single person. So that's why we brought Ron in and some of those other guys. Like, that guy's right there. He's the one that you're going to talk to. He's the one that's going to send you back out of the lanes. And it takes me out of that picture of, well, so-and-so, so you're like, well, that's not how it was. It was busier. So I think the structure of how we've done things is a little bit better as I've gone. But you know what? I still look at it as I'm just a guy, and I'm learning every day just like everybody else is.
And it really seemed from day one, the other guys, the Drag Week guys, wanted magazine content. So they almost wanted you to not fail, but almost fail. They wanted you to thrash, and they wanted stories for the magazine. Right. Race Week has always been, we want you to succeed. It's always, we're going to find you parts. We're going to do, whatever we can to get you to the next place, because that's the goal. And that was part of the drive day. And I told Matt that when he made the drive day, was you're going to have so many less steaming piles of shit at the end of this, because guys get a second to take a little bit of maintenance on their stuff somewhere in the middle of the week. And that's like, that type of stuff is what makes the difference, in my opinion. That's where the family aspect comes in, because Matt, from the beginning of this thing, has walked to every single competitor's pit and has checked on them and make sure, maybe not every day, but every other day, he's going to be cruising by there. And, every day he's through the pits, but he may not be at your pit every day. But, every other day you're going to see him cruising around, and he's going to ask you if you need water, if you need parts, whatever. And that's all that has become kind of the thing.
That question right
there. Whatever. Yeah. What other event has a loaner car? Introduce the Mini and the stupid truck and whatever else. But that's like, they want you to succeed. They brought on the portable car hoist because sometimes you need a freaking hoist. And honestly, it makes your life safer and easier to fix your car on a hoist than it does sitting on a curb somewhere.
Stuff that Juggernaut's done for the fabrication side to save people.
Totally.
It's amazing. And, and it's not for any reason other than just to see you finish. It's a hard enough event to do. All these are hard enough to event with help, and without it, it's just I don't know. It's, for me, that's what it is. It's the passion of it. Me and June and, everybody that's involved, and Adam and everybody. I mean, we're on our phones texting and finding parts, and I load my trailer with as many things as I think I can get in there if somebody needs it or whatever. It's just that caring for people. And, for me, it's just crazy because I always talk about how for these kids and people who've never been where we were at when we were younger, with 55-mile-an-hour speed limits and in the back of the freaking station wagon going stuff like and that's kind of where I've gotten crap too, because I don't want to put our routes and stuff on Google so you can just look on your phone. It takes away from what we're trying to do. I want everybody to come back to that simple life, go down that 2-lane road, come into that town where you can see once you get away from your crazy area you live in, people still live like we did back in the day. That farmer's going to come out of his house and say, hey, man, I'll grab my welder and some baling wire and do whatever to come help you. Like, those are people. That's what people are. People are still that way, and that is what we still are. We just lose that. And for that 1 week of time, you get to go back in time and just be that. And for our kids and everybody to learn that, there ain't nothing like it.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, I want to flip it up here because we're gonna obviously go over. So everybody, get another drink, get comfortable because we're just getting started. I want to talk about Mega Week. Yeah. I want to talk about Mega Week, man, because you guys have it's coming. People need to get ready. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude. The Mega Week. If you haven't heard, where the hell have you been? You're an idiot. Yeah. May 31st to June 7th. It is going to be absolutely off the chain. It's 2 Dragon Drives happening at the same time. The 1.0 event is sold out. 2.0 has a certain amount, at 40, I think is what I heard, something like that, available spots.
30 spots left.
30 spots left.
Spots. Man,
and so if you don't know, the 1.0 is running in the morning, 2.0 is running in the afternoon. And then again, another thing that Matt came up with is the shootouts. And so we do a big ass shootout, but everyone from both the 1.0 and 2.0 duke it out in the shootouts. We double the shootout money. We double the shootout size for each of those classes. It's going to be off the freaking chain. Absolutely crazy. I'm announcing half. Chad Reynolds is announcing half. And it's going to be off. It's going to be nuts. Nothing has ever been thought of that's like this before. And it's going to be nuts.
It's going to be one of the cool. Yeah, I mean, and the 10-year running celebration. And listen, with the work I do at Tulsa, like Tulsa Raceway Park is pumped about having this hosting, because not only are think about the number of cars for tech and testing, right? Then you have like the racing all day. It's going to be awesome. But then you come in that Friday is a like Vendor Midway, come in, hang out, award show, because like all these cars and people coming in are going to have to be somewhere. So we're going to do all the award stuff. And then Saturday for the shootout, shit, dude, 500 cars on the party. Get out of here. It's going to be nuts, man. It's going to be nuts.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, so I'm a bracket race dude. Matt's a heads up dude. So we're both excited about this. It's super neat, but the it's going to be about a 350 car bracket race. It's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 or 10 rounds. That's insane. 10 rounds of racing, a bracket racing, is going to be off the chain after a week of getting the absolute crap kicked out of you and building your averages. And it's a whole different race. All the averages and stuff are done at race day 4. And that's when we're going to do the awards, and we're going to hand all that stuff out. And then we reset. So it doesn't matter if you finished 15th in your class, you get to dial whatever the hell you want. And our bump spot typically is in the mid 9-second sort of range. So pretty much 950 and slower. You'll be bracket racing with 299 of your closest friends, and racing for I think $2,500 to win, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be insane. And two, while we're talking about that, some things that we've done to make sure that people can get through it. Someone's coming on this year. They're going to have their truck there. That's going to be huge for us. Mill Hamilton have 2 of their trucks there supporting us. Affordable Fleet will be there with their Fix-It trailer to help out. You'll still have Juggernaut there. Bub Again's going to be there to fix transmissions. So that's going to be huge. Obviously, Brian Tooley and them will still be doing what they do, helping get stuff out there. Force Performance will be on location, and then Quick Performance will be there to help with all your rear end stuff. And then we might even have a guy there that's going to have a couple short block LSs ready to go. So and I'm sure I missed some guys, but I'm working really hard to make sure we have the support that we need for that many cars, because there's no town in the country that can support all the carnage that's going to happen with that many cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope, that's totally true. And for people that are worried, a lot of people have been like, oh my God, what are we going to do? There's going to be no places to get hotels. It's fine, because morning people are going to get on the road. Yeah. Right. Afternoon people are going to race and stay there. So it's going to be a little bit of a flip flop. The morning people are going to leave. The afternoon people are going to fall in on those hotel rooms. And then that last day, Tulsa's big, man. There's a lot of places for people. There's a lot of racetrack to make this all happen. They've got huge staging lanes. It's going to be absolutely off the chain. Like I said, 300 car bracket race.
Yeah, Tulsa's not scared of the car count.
Jammed together, and it's going to be absolutely nuts, man.
And a big party on the drive day on Friday. We're going to feed you. We're going to have a band. We're going to give away our awards. I mean, it's just going to be a cool place to hang out, and then just don't get too trashed, because you got to get up in the morning and go.
You got to get up in the morning and do a little bit of racing, and but talk about race car friends. 500 people at Tulsa Raceway. I mean, I'm talking 500 cars, so 1,000 people plus vendors, plus all the staff, plus whoever's there for media. There's liable to be 1,200 people there just partying, dude, just laying it down there at Tulsa Raceway Park. It's gonna be something like hopefully no one's ever seen before.
Well, I mean, that's certain. It's going to be out of this world. Like, people don't understand what's going to happen, and to have some spots left, I want people to understand. Like, get your shit and get on RockyMountainRaceweek.com and sign up right now, because like this is history making event right here, right? Yeah. Like, there's not ever been this level of event hosted. And dude, I'm telling you, much as I know about this stuff,
real quick though, Mr. Narks, what are you bringing to Mega Week?
Well, so Steven will drive the old truck.
What are you bringing to Mega Week?
So Eric and I will probably be in a sweet rental minivan.
I think that's crap. Both you guys need to bring something.
Oh, hey, you know what? I'll bring the cart.
Bring the cart.
The Narks cart.
Yeah, but make Eric ride in the cart and put that junk in the 12.0 class with some nitrous on it.
I'll put that in like the 17.0 class.
Whatever. No. See, Jonathan Stonecipher knows. He knows in the chat there. See? Yeah. Bring that cart.
I'll bring the cart because it'll be perfect for media. That's what Eric and I are going to do that week. Will be media stuff. So
I love it.
It'll be covered in
cardboard doors.
Probably. I mean, it's just a great spot. It's a great spot for some Drag Driver Pete logos. But
the problem is
the wind off of us.
The problem is we won't be in the same place at the same time if there's 2 events going on.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to figure that out. So, Eric, what are you bringing to Mega Week?
Hey, he could bring his convertible 240, and we could put GoPros all over the roll bars of it.
Yep, and so you'll have a Drag Driver Pete truck, and you'll have is it 615 LSX swipes?
815
LSX swaps car. So you guys will know. You'll know.
Yeah, I'm in. Okay, perfect. It's settled. Maybe we'll give the card away at the end.
And Pat Cook was actually asking, are we going to do some more Grom racing? And you bet your ass, Pat. Yeah. I owe him an ass whooping because he killed me on his Hayabusa. But yes, Pat, and we're going to get Matt on the Grom this year.
Yeah.
He's good at scooter tricks. I'll tell you that much.
Nice. Yeah, hardcore camping. That's definitely. I may put a rooftop tent on the cart and just do that.
I don't know, John. Actually, have you talked to Chad? Have we figured that out yet?
No, not really. I'd like to see you guys swap it up somewhere along the way. I don't know how that's going to work with your racing deal, but for me, like, I almost think you could pull it off because, like, if you think about it, we're normally there all day long anyway. So what I was thinking was I'll be there in the morning. I probably won't leave out of the track until 7 o'clock in the evening to go on to the next one. So you guys might be able to work something out to where you guys can cross at some point.
That's what I was thinking, kind of do a morning handoff. Here's kind of what we saw. And then, like, what are you seeing out of your side? Because it will be hard for us to watch the other half to know what's going on.
Or the other thing might be is there's a couple hours that you guys are together, right? So maybe there's a couple hours where he comes in, whoever's the day guy comes in, hangs out with the night guy, recaps, does a little bit of stuff, then he goes on his way. So that way you guys get a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Totally. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Please give us Adam and Chad at the same time.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure going to happen, for sure. And we'll see if we can mix it up, because I know a lot of people are used to me announcing their stuff, and Chad, Chad got his start. If you haven't watched my That's Cool Drink episode with him, shameless plug on my podcast, he got his start in motorsports full time at Drag Week 2005. Kyle Loftus with 1320 Video got his start full time in motorsports at Drag Week 2005. He was there selling DVDs of street racing at Drag Week, and also videotaping Drag Week to sell DVDs of Drag Week, because this is pre YouTube, Facebook, that kind of stuff. He was selling DVDs to try to get rich. So both those dudes really got their start in this stuff at Drag Week 2005, which is super cool to have that dude announcing at this event. Like, it's going to be a pretty sweet deal.
And something too, I know what I am doing, and I haven't talked a lot about it, but we are going to have a weekend deal in September at Pueblo. That's just going to be a 3-day deal, and it's going to be really laid back. We're not doing any veteran. It's going to be first come, first serve. I'm going to try to get Adam there and Chad there and me and June, and it's going to be kind of like back in the day type of event where it isn't super serious. We're just going to go have fun, and we're going to run our cars. So, and
actually, if you go to 1320video.com, a bunch of those are available for like $5.
Yeah. I thought that was super. I didn't even think about that until you said, it was available. Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For the folks listening, I'm showing an eBay picture.
The plan is that I will have the Malibu at race weekend in Pueblo in September. So I don't think that we're going to have Chad, unfortunately, because that's the same weekend as LS Fest.
Does it actually fall right on it? I thought he said that it was. I talked to him and I thought he said it was off by a week.
It's you're going to do the first weekend?
It's the. God, I don't remember what it is. I think it's the second weekend, but I don't remember.
Okay. It might miss it. We'll have to talk about it.
I don't remember.
I think it's the 5th through 7th is what I have on my calendar.
Yeah, and that's when LS Fest is.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that is because a Midwest Drag Race Series race is on top of that.
Which is stupid.
Well, it's funny. It's Funny Car Nationals in Martin, Michigan. So it's kind of cool.
Hell yeah!
It's cool about looking back at those videos that you showed to Kyle's. That's kind of the same thing with what's going on with the fastest street car shootout deal, is bringing all that old school cars back. They actually are a sponsor for Race Week this year. They're doing the unlimited class. We kind of worked out some sponsor changes around there. And that's, it's way off topic, but if you can get to something like to go to that event, it's just like what we're talking about. It's that kind of old school, go back in time type deal. Super cool. You can't beat it.
Yeah, dude. And that's going to be in Illinois this year, Cordova.
Yep.
It's going to be multiple days. They're going to have a drag and drive class. Yep. And Race Week's been a sponsor there. And dude, I get to share the booth with the venerable Al Tucci at that race, which super is cool, dude, absolutely insane. The coolest thing is blowing Al Tucci's mind with these drag and drive cars. Bryant Goldstone was out there and he was like, that dude drives that on the street. And I was like, just like that too, like on the slicks and it's wild watching him drive that thing. And he's like, are you kidding me? He got to meet Blaine. He thought Blaine was the coolest kid on the planet, stick shifting that 55 wagon. That's going to be a cool race. So make sure you check that out for sure.
Yeah. What's really neat about that is like for people to sign up in the drag and drive shootout, they have to have attended a drag and drive in the past.
Yes.
So it's not just, oh, hey, my car's a street car. It's like, no. You have to have done one.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, Wickman. What up, Wickman?
That's a big thing for me too. Like that's one thing that I feel really good about, we've ended up with racing and our sponsors and stuff like that. I try to do as many sponsorships as I can for other events. We've supported some stuff that goes on at Pueblo. We've helped out a lot of these other, events, kind of cross that because I feel like, it's very important to help support your other racing communities, whether it's right in our backyard or not, just because we have to have it. We got to keep it alive, and anything we can do to help with that, that's awesome for us.
Well, and on that same note there, I mean, like you guys are a sponsor of the 11.0 and 12.0 index that's new for 2025 for the circuit. And
dude. And yeah, you can
winner
win
of that. You get a spot. Like
you can win an entry to Mega Week on the circuit.
Let's go, man. So cool. So cool. There's so many people that cross over that I think it really, we're going to see the circuit become like a get ready for Rocky Mountain event,
right. Right. Is that Jack Crawford with the LTD?
Yep.
With the yacht? Okay.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Did you ever watch Uncle Buck, Jack?
Yeah.
Because I called his car Uncle Buck all week long, and he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. So hopefully he watched Uncle Buck, so he has a little bit of background. If not, watch that crap before at least Mega Week, but hopefully before the circuit.
I want to eventually. We want to try to get down there to do yours. I just have a really hard time getting any other events. It's hard for me in that sense, just because I take 2 weeks of my time, and I'm self-employed, so it's not like
you don't get paid for your time off. You can't double dip or nothing.
Yeah,
they get kind of pissy with you when you take too much time off, and then they want to give your contracts away and stuff like that. So that's where, unfortunately for me, that's the only downfall of all this is it really puts a damper on my own race program. I kind of would like to get back out there and be remembered as somebody that's laying some numbers down with this car, and it's hard because we're learning right as we get to these events. We don't have a lot of time to do a lot of things, but it's just part of how it is. It's definitely something that's on my bucket list to try to get down there and support you guys and actually, go do some other events.
Yeah, totally. And one that does drag and drive for a charity and a charity for kids. That's right up our alley, dude. So that's also on my short list, but I'm gonna make it happen one of these years as well. Maybe Matt and I'll come over there and mop up the whole thing and just win it all.
Bring it on. I keep trying to get Jason Hurley to bring the big car, but he sees it as like a car vacation. So
exactly. Yeah,
and we need him to have the big car running for Rocky Mountain Race Week. So let's talk about the last thing here. Let's talk about folks that are double dipping. They're doing both.
Oh, dude, idiots!
Idiots! Blows my mind. Why would you put yourself
and including Jason Hurley?
Yeah,
including Jason Hurley. He's got a 7.0, big tire, big block, twin turbo. I mean, gangster ass car that likes to party, and he's doing both like an idiot.
Yeah, man.
There's about 10, I think, and 2 of those are Vince. Vince got to do it because he's been to every event,
and he's sponsored every event.
And Richard Thorpe is the same. Those guys got to do it because they've always been there for every event. I mean, every one. I'm talking 1.0, 2.0. They've made it to every one. You want to talk about loyalty? That's just insane.
And Richard Thorpe has left. He's also a big time bracket racer. So he's left big bracket races to come to race week, and left race week to go to bracket races. The Thorpes are awesome, and Rich is a gangster.
Cameron, that one time, I think it was 22 or 3, where he was racing in Pueblo, and then come and made his pass and went back or something like that.
In the middle of the event, I think it was on the drive day. He went to go compete because he was in the points, and then came back to his hotel, rejoined the route, made it back the rest of the way, and then went to race week.
Yeah.
Well, and Sarah and Cameron are right there too. They missed missed for some of those things, but they've been there for almost every event too. So it's real close, even for them. That family is just crazy about racing.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they are great folks. It's really fun to see their names on those each time and see it over the years.
And they're out of the Disorganized Grime camp, which has been a sponsor for a long time as well.
That's cool. And then I think another longtime racer, Carlos Astor.
Oh yeah, that dude got famous for wrecking his car at Great Bend.
Well, he has struggled in the past to keep that car together. He breaks stuff, but that car is always ready to go at day one.
He needs to ditch that naturally aspirated big block nonsense and go back to what he knows and put nitrous on a small block and do big wheelies and go 850s.
There you go.
We just need to do big wheelies. I love the wheelies that he does.
Yeah, I mean, I love Carlos and I like him doing some different stuff, but while all the rest of his 301 homies stick to their roots and do it, he's unfortunately beating the crap out of his stuff and banging his head on the wall. So it's time.
Yeah. Hang on. Let's go back to the Martin Ranger there. It said 600-mile drive route. I think this, by my math, was like 1250 or something.
He's talking a single day.
Oh,
no, we're not going to have any of that junk, Martin. No way. You're in good shape.
Close.
Yeah, I was going to say it's 430 or something.
I think 420, 430, but it ain't 600.
450. We're actually going to do a deal with Mel Hamilton to stop at their place.
Sweet.
Some of the route stuff we're going to have. They're going to do a big burnout deal, and I don't know what all. We've been talking about it, so we'll get. But it's basically to do that whole entire deal. It's like 450 miles, so it's going to be a jog. You're going to earn it.
Yeah, and that's Oklahoma City to Flying H, which I'm pumped that we're going to Flying H. For the folks that haven't been there, it's one of it may be the second or third nicest track I've ever been to. It's so nice.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's a great John Gilman's 400 feels like 600 though. Yeah.
That's true. It's not highway. We don't just hop on I-70 and just that's
and it's late in the trip too. Like it's going to be it'll be day 3 and then we'll race day 5 at Flying H, right, or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Who knows?
And I saw the All Bob race team is going to be on the Ironman deal. Bob is the dude that was putting bearings in his car at like a 7-Eleven.
Right.
On race week in 16, I think.
Wow.
Bob,
like Big Black Bob.
Yep. Big Black Bob, absolutely.
Bob had to put a motor in his car at a diner.
Yeah, it was a diner. That's right, a diner.
2 or whatever. They're out there. It was him and the Phelps and a whole bunch of other people out there, and they borrowed a cherry picker from across the street, and they dug a motor out of someplace in Colorado Springs and brought it in, and right there in the diner parking lot, that was when I knew we had made it, because I was thinking these guys are going to break their cars, they're going to go home, nobody's going to thrash, and when we're all standing in the diner parking lot and he's got the freaking motor pulled out of his car, that was when I knew this is the real deal here.
Hell yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, Tyler picked an easy one for my first Rocky Mountain Race Week. You sure did, bud. Yeah. It's going to be so much fun, man. I hope people understand. Listen, 30 spots left in the evening racing. I don't know why this is not already sold out.
It's going to, I mean, we got time. It's going to sell out. But
and
just get on, if you want to, get on the freaking list. When it does sell out and you think you might want to be on, get on the wait list. The 1.0 wait list is crazy long. So get on the 2.0 wait list to give yourself any chance to get on.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts. Okay. What have I forgotten, Eric? We talked
to be honest, with all these comments, I haven't even been able to pay attention to our notes. So
there's been a ton over here. I've been keeping a half an eye on them.
Nice.
And there's been a lot going on.
Yeah. So I want to ask what your opinion is on how people will make the 2 event, the double up work. Like, do you think that they're going to wait and run later for the morning class and then kind of overlap and then leave?
I don't think so.
No?
I think you'll see them bang out there first at 1 on the morning. They're going to hit it right off the get-go. Then they're going to go take a nap, and then they're going to they're almost going to have to wait It depends on what the strategy is. Are you going to try to win both of them? If you're going to try to win both of them, you're going to have to do it in the morning on the first one, and you're going to have to wait till the evening to leave to hit that best one. I mean, it's going to be a long, long process if that's what you think you're going to do. I think some people are going to just try to say, I did it. So they're going to hit it in the morning, and then they're going to wait till 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the staging lane's open. They're going to hit it, and then they're going to get on the road. But I would be willing to bet you that the majority of them are going to end up waiting until the last minute on the end of the day, and they're going to just they're just going to have their co-pilot. They'll probably have their co-pilot tell them to go sleep because they're going to have to drive that car to the next track. But I bet you're going to see a lot of that.
Interesting.
Yep. And that's going to, I mean, when you think about that, we're closing at 10 p.m. So that final call is probably going to be 8:30, and they have to be at the next racetrack at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
7 in the morning.
Oh.
Yeah, so 7 in the morning. So wow. you guys are idiots. Jason Hurley says earliest for both of them, and he thinks he can still win both.
Wow.
That's because Jason's a gangster.
One aborted run is going to set you back, and you're going to be there till 10 o'clock at night. It's going to happen. Yep. It may not happen every day, but it's going to happen. You're going to have to make that decision.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's one of the coolest things about drag and drive, right? Is like somebody can have the fastest car, but they may have only gotten like Ed Inger's a great story talking about it a couple weeks ago. You know, they had 45 minutes of sleep one night. Yep. So like you can have the fastest car, but dude, you may not be able to put it together.
No. Well, and you've got to have a good co-pilot that isn't going to want to kill you.
Yeah.
Either, because like you said, like you're going to have to figure out rest and or work and sleep cycles. Like this is like a deployment. This is like no shit Army. It's going to be a really, really cool thing to watch it happen.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's tough. I know when we were in 2014, when me and Brent were running my car, we broke rockers every day. We broke a flex plate. And we thought we were doing great. We were going to Thunder Valley, and the freaking GPS was taking us out to the track, and nobody told us that the hotels were 60 miles back or whatever it is. So we get in there, and the freaking GPS locked, and we couldn't get out of there. It just kept taking us in circles. I can tell you that maybe that week, and we didn't make it all the way back. We ended up dropping a valve, but we probably only got maybe 4 hours of sleep the entire time. And I'm telling you what, like you better have somebody that's with you because it only takes one mistake of doing something. You didn't change a valve or turn a valve or change the tune-up or any of those kind of things, and it can cost you the whole week just because of something from the sleep deprivation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's no joke. And it's a marathon, and then you add in maybe not leaving until 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah. Man, that's crazy. Okay. Y'all listen, I want to say thanks. I want to stop us there because if not, we're going to go another hour. Right. And I want to have you on a few more times before the event. Obviously, I want people to understand how big this is. This is not just big for Rocky Mountain. This is big for the drag and drive community. Like this is going to be the biggest thing that anybody's ever witnessed ever in the history of drag and drive. And like, if you guys can pull it off, which I completely trust that you can, it's going to go down in the history books. Like this will be talked about forever and ever and ever.
The shootout is going to be,
it's going to be so cool.
The thing. It's going to be off because we're mixing the two, and the morning people may not really necessarily know what the afternoon people are doing, and how that's working. And they're going to be two different events. They're going to pay out different, but then we mix everybody at the end, and it's going to be nuts. It's going to be absolutely crazy.
I'll leave it with this. I don't think people understand, we've been training for this since day one. And how I say that is we have had veterans our entire time that we've been doing this. So what happened with that is, and that was kind of where I was really important to make sure that we separate, we got enough veterans for 2.0. They already know the schedule. They already understand how we do things. They already understand pretty much our run order. So when you new guys come in there, you have somebody that you can follow or you can learn or whatever. It's not going to be total chaos of brand new people all signing up. And in my opinion, that was the only way that we actually are going to be able to make this successful, is because we've done this for so long and we have so many veterans. It just works. It's going to work. It's just to look at it as two events with an hour in between, just in case there's something that goes on. It's 2 events. And what people don't, they're thinking, oh, it's crazy and it's going to turn into a big shit show. Well, most of your people and your 1.0 people are going to do their runs, 1 and done, or 2 runs or 3 runs. They're going to be so far gone before the freaking 2.0 people get there.
Yep.
There's going to be some stragglers, but that's going to vacate. And with how we're doing the pits is I'm going to do, this row is for A group, this row is for B group, this row is for A group. So the other part of that, why I thought about that is it's not leaving one group all the way out at the end. Like you guys are staggered enough that it'll keep everybody equally in there. So you're not flowing clear to the end of the parking and have to figure out how to move yourself. So we put a lot of thought into how this is going to lay out.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, let's, do y'all want to keep going? Do you have anything going on right now?
No.
I don't have a job, dude.
Okay. Well, listen.
I do fly to Georgia tomorrow for the spring break Ford Nationals at South Georgia Motorsports Park. But I don't leave until 10:30. So let's go.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. I know Eric had before we even started, he was talking about, he was helping his son with some homework and stuff. So I understand if you've got to bounce, we're going to stay on. Everybody in my house is asleep. Melissa texted me a minute ago saying she was going to bed. So, so let's talk about that because Cal Hayward is going to, he's debuting his new drag and drive car. That was the Pinky Drag Week car. It's going to be debuted down at South Georgia with you at spring break. So cool. That car is going to be really interesting because it held the Super Street small block power adder record for a long, long time. Now it makes like 1,000 more horsepower and is a big block Ford now. So it'll be kind of a neat car.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Cal Hayward Racing now on Facebook. But everybody that's been around drag and drive for a long time, he was kind of a big deal. Drove on his radials, no trailer, went in deep into the sun, like 719 or 731 or something like that.
He's got 1,000 more horsepower.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Should be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah. It's a great car, beautiful car. We've been watching the build up of it. Dude, so let's talk about announcing for a minute because you obviously spend a ton of time behind the mic now. I told you way back when and all that went down with work, this was going to be a great thing for you. You're not rich yet, but you're paying your bills, right? Like you haven't had a W-2 job yet and you're doing stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done my taxes yet, so I don't know how that is going to play out necessarily. But dude, it's been good. It's been really good. I made it all year. I didn't have to borrow money or beg for money or anything like that.
That's awesome.
My standard response is I'm not getting rich, but I'm not getting poor.
Yep.
But I'm picking up cool jobs. I'm working with really, really cool people. It's been super cool. It's been an awesome deal.
Yeah, man, it's been really fun to see, like, your enthusiasm just to keep cranking on it, and you didn't freak out. I'm sure you freaked out a little bit, but outwardly we didn't see any freak out. And man, I love it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, dude, it's been a hell of a good ride for sure. And I owe so many experiences this last year to that guy that just walked off there. I had no idea what in the hell I was getting myself into. I announced for a year, and I did the race week and Rocky Mountain Race Week deals because Chad had guys sitting at home doing nothing, so he gave Matt a deal and said, "Let's live stream Race Week."
What year did you start doing the announcing? Remember? 2020. Okay.
Yep, that was when we got the live stream. Right. And I'd run the social media aspect for some time, and I had a pretty good idea who was there and what was going on with their stuff, and I could tell their stories, and it worked out. It's kind of that way with all of my jobs. I spent a little bit of time researching kind of who's there, and then I get to know these people. Like these Ford races, the Mod Nationals has set me up like crazy to get some of those NMCA and NMRA races. And then when they went out, all these kind of dudes running around trying to pick up other stuff, I'm on their short list of names to call, which is
great. You're one of the great ones as far as you can retain the information of who's what. Like, it's amazing how you know everything that you know about people, and that's what makes you great at what you're doing. It just you have that. You just have that. I mean, I've only seen probably four people in my entire life that have been able to actually do what you do and remember everything that you remember, do the research that you do, and that's what makes you good at it. That's why everybody wants you to do it. You have that excitement, you have the knowledge of the mechanical aspect of it, plus just the knowledge of the people, and you can't. I mean, that's priceless, is what it is.
It's been such a cool deal. It's been awesome. It's been absolutely awesome. Thanks, John. Yeah, quit. Really, what I tell guys all the time is, don't quit your job, but go get fired. Work on your side gig, and then get your ass fired from your job, because they might give you severance, and then you have like a month or 6 weeks or 2 months to really push that side gig, and they're paying you to get that thing moving. And that really,
I wish I had gotten severance. Even just unemployment would have been fine.
Right. And that was maybe the difference of me freaking out and not, is I got 30 days of severance, which that's nothing after, 12 years that I was there and 20 years in the industry. But it was a month where I didn't need to freak out. I could spend a month and I could go book jobs and, whatever, man. A few people have, reached out when I was, before I needed it. And they're kind of my core people. Race week's the first thing on my, on my calendar every year. There's a handful of other dudes, the Mod Nationals. Those guys were awesome. And they, the guys that were there when I didn't need it, they get a little extra sauce, which is cool. And then being able to work for Garrett has been a big deal for me as well. That was a huge uptake. I'm going to be at the reunion actually at the end of the month. I'm on all of their drag races this year.
That's awesome.
And that's been
part of that. Is I feel like we set that bar. We set that bar of where he's going to turn it down if it's not the right money, because we set a bar where it should have been a long time ago, and that's helping everybody in that industry, especially Adam knows what his value is, and he's holding to that. And I think that's not to say that we, I don't think we set that, but I was very adamant to make sure that he was taken care of financially for what we were doing that made it worth his while. And we've had conversations about this before, where he knows now that he needs to go above that bar and not let these guys sell him short.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing.
And that was like the first year. The first year when we did it, we were talking money, and I had a job and I was taking vacation time and I think I told you I would do it for $700 or so. And you were like, no, come on, man. Like, you're crazy. And I was like, I just need a little extra, whatever. And you weren't making a ton of money then, but you came correct. And that was, we did have a talk about that. Like, don't ever sell yourself short. You're worth what you're worth. And I have had to turn some jobs down, and I've given some people some quotes, and they've left me on red. But I don't want to leave my house for pennies. And I think that like you said, like the whole entire announcing community needs to get better at that. And I've done a pretty good job of helping some other guys. Like, hey, I'm asking for this, this money, and that's. If you're doing it for less, you better be doing a hell of a shittier job than me.
And that's the problem.
The value of, it's just like the sponsorship deal of the value. Like, what value do you bring to the table, and what does that bring in? And that's priceless. You can't sell yourself short for that, because what they don't realize is when that happens, and you got to go back to work full time, and then you end up with a job where they tell you, F you can't take that time off. All that does is going to hurt everybody. So.
Yep. Well, and that was what it was for me. Like when I took the opportunity to announce at Heads Up Hustle, which was really cool. And when I started looking at that, like, you start figuring out the hours you're putting in ahead of time just to figure out who's there and make notes and get all this. Oh my God, dude. There's a ton of stuff that goes into announcing.
It's work, man. It's work. And guys were doing it for pennies. And I had good talk. Really, I had good talks with the guys that do what we're doing. There's a handful that are good, that can travel, and basically you can almost name your price. But some of those guys were not, and I almost made like a little announcers guild, and I was like, all right, guys, this is what, like, I just opened the books and I was like, this is what I'm charging.
Yeah.
And if you're charging less than that, then you're screwing everything.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be, it's not expensive if it's all the same price.
Yeah.
If everyone comes in and says, this is the price. And if you don't want that, then if you call the next guy and his price is the same, what are you going to do? I think in the last 2 years, this world with the handful of guys that are doing it and doing it at a high level, have started making some good money. And I mean, I've been told straight up, like, you are asking more than Brian Loans is making. I've never paid an announcer that much money. All this, I've heard a lot of stuff here, but I'm just like, that's fine. I can stay home. I have cars to work on. I have a new lift in my garage.
Yeah.
I don't need to fly all over the country for pennies.
Even with what Mike's doing too. I talk about that too a lot, about with the sponsor side of it too. If you're benefiting from what these drag and drive events are doing as your business, you need to get out there and support those events and support the people like Michael and Eric that are out there putting that stuff out there, because it turns around.
For the folks on the podcast, John Gilman said announcers are like escorts. Spend the extra money. That's awesome.
So I hear, he says.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the regular scheduled program. It all goes hand in hand, and everybody has to kind of support everybody, just like we talked about before. If you're benefited from it and you put it in there, it's going to come back to you twice fold most of the time. So it's just pretty cool to see how the whole industry. I mean, just look at drag in a whole of it. Look at what drag and drive is doing for the sport, just in general. Like, all the car parts that are getting sold and you can see it everywhere. NHRA's recognize what's going on. Everybody is starting to pay attention to what's going on. So if you call you guys call it a movement, but it is what it is. It's changed the dynamics of the automotive world. And I think truly, as far as bringing young people into this and getting involved in it, it's probably one of the things that's done a great job of actually bringing people into the industry.
It has been for the past couple of years, and Michael nerd off on it for you. I'm sure he's got it all in front of him. But it's been in the last 3 years, the hottest growing thing in drag racing, without a doubt, bar none. Without a doubt, it was for a long time no prep. Once everyone crashed their no prep cars, then drag and drive it was the jam. And honestly, like they were talking, 2020 was the turning point. It was the linchpin. Being able to pull off 2 drag and drives when no one was racing and do them live stream. I wish we could look up the numbers that we had from those 2020 events, but there were at times like 5,000 and 6,000 people watching Race Week in 2020, and that's stellar, dude.
Well,
huge.
Some of the tracks. I mean, we had to close the gates at Pueblo because we maxed that place out. We had to start turning people. I mean, it was a great time to be doing what we're doing. It was amazing, but I think the biggest thing about it is I don't know, honestly, if I could ever just go back to being a drag racer. Like, after we've done what we've done, to be able to have that seat time in your car and enjoy your car and your friends and your family, and you just can't go back. And I think that's when we talk about it ruins people. That's kind of where it goes, is who wants to just go be at the track? Like, there's so much more to this than it's not pulling your car behind the station wagon at 55 mile an hour with a tow bar, but you're actually out there on the two lane roads doing it with your friends.
In your hot rod, like getting your car out of the garage and burning miles with that thing is a whole different experience than tugging it to the racetrack, racing Friday night, if you're lucky, Saturday and Sunday. I mean, if you're a crappy racer like I am, 2 days you get 6 passes, 2 test passes and a first round loss, and you go home.
And just listening, like when you guys were talking to the Dietz work guy, just the innovation of parts because of what drive has done. I mean, look at where the parts world is, how far it's come with like you said, the pumps and stuff like that. I mean, you're right. I remember we went through more fuel pumps in 1 week than probably were sold in a year. It really was like crazy, you know? So
yeah, those hot days and getting up into altitude, and it was killing everyone's fuel pumps for sure.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's made it to where you have to have, we talked about this a lot. You build your car different now.
Yeah.
Preparing for drag and drive. You may not pick the cam that's all the way at the bottom of the list. You'll pick the cam that's 2 down because it'll cruise. It'll be 200 slower, but it's going to stay alive. And that's like, that matters. And
it'll survive.
Everything. It's everything.
And think of the valve train technology that's come in the last, say 10 years. That is driven by those guys running at the very front. Jason Tabb, Scott, Doc McIntyre, Ed Inzer.
Hey, Brooks, that's because your distributor's in the front. Just saying.
Anyway. Yeah. I don't even know why. Yeah. You start looking at valve train technologies come a long way. These manufacturers now have the ability to hire engineers to work on that stuff, where used to it was a dude figuring it out and grinding a new cam,
Yep.
Chris Dorey, fuel pump problems will get you for sure.
That's right. He's a Deechworks guy too. He gets some help from those guys. So
they're awesome.
He knows he's always the guy that's like, hey, that I have 10 Deechworks fuel pumps in my bag. Just tell someone, if anyone's got a fuel pump problem, I've got 10 fuel pumps in my bag. I'm like, holy crap, good for you.
Yeah, Chris was the introduction for us to them. We appreciate that. Love him for that. That's
hell yeah. Chris just speaking of, I just had Chris in Rapid City. He did all of my photography for my wedding.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Congratulations, by the way. I know everybody kind of probably said that on the thing.
Yeah, less than a week now. We got married on Friday. So
how cool. Stevie's a lucky lady, that's for sure.
Well, it's all good. The double overdrive. That's right. Yeah. Stevie knows all about that. She's been daily driving the Cadillac, by the way.
Yeah. I heard that on, I think, your last live show.
Yep. She is daily driving that thing to work.
That's awesome. We got some folks here. John Gilman saying Drag and Drive's made overdrive's great again. I mean
that ain't no shit either. Gear vendors with Rick Johnson. He's been with Drag Week since the beginning. That's kind of been his like claim to fame is, we can make your car drive down the street. And what I like about it is the stick drivers per capita is way higher in a drag and drive than it is on a normal, normal drag race type of deal. And I'm a stick dude. And, obviously Matt's better half is a stick lady as well. And that's, to me, that's been a little bit of the resurgence of the stick shift racing world. It's been the gassers, that like the Southeast gasser guys and the kind of resurgence of gassers and drag and drive, because man, stick shifts for a street car is
and now you're mixing them. Yeah. This is going to be fun. What prompted the gasser, just your love for gasser stuff, and then like this being the biggest event? Like, is that kind of what kicked off the gasser class changes and the love for that for this year?
Yeah, I'm a gasser guy. Like I love the gasser stuff. It kind of goes back to that same the back roots type of thing, and so it was just, what can we do to offset this and get more gassers involved? And just started looking at the rules. I didn't want it to make it where it put anybody out. If you're missing one thing off your car, if you can add something else to it to make that work, don't cut the LSs and stuff out of it. I think we start making too many. We get to the point where we make so many rules. We rule people that have all different budgets out of it. So I didn't want to get too carried away with throwing the whole, the baby out with the bathwater type of thing. But I wanted to basically say, hey, if you got an LS motor in there, but you got the name on the side of the car, let's change some things around to still keep it cool. But yeah, as far as that goes, like I'm super into the gasser stuff. I had a 55 Chevy that was a gasser. I'm building a 57 Chevy Corvette that I inherited as a gasser. And they're just cool cars. I mean, we have to honestly, I think that's something that we've lost in funny cars and in anything drag racing, the names and the cool t-shirts and all the stuff that would bring you to go watch this stuff. we've lost that. And that's something that we need to bring back into racing, because I feel like if you can bring, I mean, just look at if you remember, like even the Super Chevy shows and stuff, those guys always had button-up shirts with flames on them and wild psychedelic paint jobs and names on the sides of the cars. And we've kind of got to where we're so basic about things. We need to bring all that back and and that's just another way to get other people to come and relate. I mean, if you look like the Hulk, that means more to kids when they come up there and they see that Hulk's on that car, or you hand them a deal that says Hulk on there or whatever. I think that that's just the kind of thing with gassers and all that those little deals that just brings more people to the event.
Well, and like as people are driving through town, that car is going to get a ton of attention.
Absolutely.
And that only helps. Like that car pulls into a gas station, the 41 Willys gasser setup is like primo stuff there. And that car pulls in, big choppy, big block, and it just goes, wild. I mean,
well,
it's
looking at
really
that.
Cool.
Nobody and the kids and stuff that don't know anything about the era, because obviously they're not, they don't know nothing about cars. You're looking at that and you just know there's something different about that, and it looks like something that I had at the, my toy or my Hot Wheels or whatever. So it almost is like a little bit more of I need to go figure out what the heck that thing's all about, because it looks like some kind of crazy deal that I ain't never seen before.
Yeah. Yep. And it goes back to like that Hot Wheels wild car, that's there. Man, the Bucket List Mob, dude, their gassers, I love them. I love them. They do so well. The truck is the cluster truck is one of my favorites that's out there. It's got like, I don't know, 60 something speed holes all over it. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, they're perfect. And I like Matt said, like he's had a gasser, he's building a gasser now. He's got some roots in this. Like his people know, he knows gassers, which is that's what makes it cool, is he can look at it and go, that's a gasser, but that's a hot rod. And a lot of guys may not be able to differentiate the two, but he can. And again, it's a put your money where your mouth is. Like, we know that you have a gasser and we want you to bring that crap out. And same deal. That's gassers don't need to fight for an entry spot, nor does Junior Street. So or bikes. That's right. And bikes still. Do you have bikes at the circuit? You do.
Yeah. Pat Cook runs that class.
I think we're the only ones. I think it's the circuit and race week, as far as I know.
And I mean, it's 100%
drag and drive bikes.
It's 100% because you guys did it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, like even a lot of our rule packages based on yours, because there's so many people that cross over.
Yep.
What's great about looking at like the Rocky Mountain rules compared to some of the others that are out there is like you have to have rule packages within classes. You have to have that, and sometimes they have to be long and detailed. But for the classes that are the majority of Rocky Mountain, there's 5 or 6 points. That's easy to keep up with.
And it was that way on purpose, because it's easy to police.
Yeah. And
they say the rules say what they say, and they don't say what they don't say, and get in where you fit in. And it was, again, when it came out, it was the second one, so they couldn't be too far away from drag week rules, because then you would have drag week guys not be able to participate. So you had to have a place for them to play, but also make it different, make it not copy and paste, do something cool with it. And Matt's done that throughout in 10 years, has made big and changes in drag and drive that a lot of other people have adopted and or stolen and or blatantly stolen and made their own. But it's been cool to watch him come up with cool stuff and really drive the process, drive the industry, drive this thing.
Areas of it too. Like, I love when you figure out the gray area of it. The rules are set up to where you can find gray areas, and if you choose to use that gray area, there's still things today that people don't figure out. And I'm like, it's something that's right there for you, and you don't figure it out. And I love it, because it's just, there's always that little point that you might be able to twist and be like, hey, it's not in the rules. Absolutely. Yep, you're right. But
you know what? And we got that last year, because for a long time we had H pattern in the stick shift class, and in the rewrite of the rules, somehow H pattern didn't end up back in the rules. And we had, damn it, I can't remember his name, from Canada with that. Yes.
Yep.
Yep. And he showed up and we said, well, you got a V gate. And he said, show me where it says I can't have a V gate. And you were like,
Well,
you're right. More power to you. And then he blew all the rods out of it. That's that stuff. Get in where you can fit in and live in that gray area, and you might take home some money.
Yeah, right. And I think that's what truly driving the fun factor that comes with Rocky Mountain is like there's not. I mean, I don't have to break it out and write it out as long as while I read it to make sure that I can understand what is going to need to be needed in some of those classes.
Right.
Again, sometimes you need that level of rules when people get too hard. They get
like John Gilman just put a 427 big block Chevy is legal for naturally aspirated small block. That is correct. A 426 Hemi is legal for naturally aspirated small block. No one has come. I keep daring people to do it, and no one's done it.
They won't, because it's messed up in their mind. It's funny too, is we've had guys that didn't read the rules, and I always say this at the deal: police yourself, because if you're in the top 3, somebody's going to come and see what you did wrong, and they're going to come let us know. It's just like we had, I can't think of his name right offhand, but we had the wagon that it should, because they're there every time. I can't. It's getting late, but anyways, we get towards the end, and they're like, that car's got slicks on it. It's supposed to have street tires on them. I go over there and look at it. I'm like, oh my God, he's in the first place. I'm like, dude, you're going to have to run on your street tires. I'm not kicking you out of the class. And the same thing with when they had Leroy too. Or no, it wasn't Leroy. It was the red car. What's the red Corvette?
Ruby.
Ruby, yeah.
Way they were carrying Ruby's tires in the other car, in the other trailer, and they were new to it. They didn't know. And I told both those guys, I'm not kicking you out, but you got to make that next pass on your street tires. And it killed them. I mean, it kicked them out. I mean, matter of fact, that deal there, I think I was going to have pitchforks and flames at my house when I got home, because his fans were mad. He had to go on there and tell them, like, it's our fault, because they were pissed at me. But it just is what it is. Like, you got to police yourself a little bit, because sometimes you might get caught up. And that's another thing that I think it's shitty. Well, even Tony Latimer, he wrote DOT on the side of his tire, and he kicked himself out of the class, but it was a big joke because he wrote the DOT number on there, or DOT on it, because he had slicks on the car. Like, dude, it's right in the rules. You know that you got to read the rules, especially if you switch classes during the first day. It could bite you in the butt if you don't go back and double check it. But that kind of makes sense sometimes too.
Like Keith Turk always says that day 4 is his day, because that's when everyone that's in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place is coming up to him and saying, those effins are cheating.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's like, this is my day. This is when I get screamed at. So, day 4. That's good day for a race promoter or race organizer.
Sure. Yeah, that's the tough one. Now, typically for your drive days, are they typically later in the week? Or have you ever had any that were like day 2, something like that?
It just depends on it really just depends on how the layout is. The drive day is dictated on how long the route is from one track to the other. So it really just matters on, if the track can take it, if they can handle us this day. And that's what it really falls on, is what the track, we've had a lot of times where we've had a scramble, and I'm sure you've dealt with this too, where this track calls me and is like, man, I didn't realize it. We have this going on. You can't have this day. So now I got to spend the rest of the next 3 days calling the tracks and trying to figure out where all the puzzle pieces fit. So, I mean, that's what determines on when the drive days are laid out.
And the first one was just the day before the shootout. So it gave us a little bit of time so that we could start the shootout in the morning.
Gotcha.
But yeah, now it's
so.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I think that's one of the biggest benefits of Drag and Drive for the drag racing community and the tracks specifically for this topic, is these guys are getting a chance to run 300 cars on a Tuesday afternoon, where normally they're not going to do that. That track's open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe every week.
Right. Yep. So track people get to get more work. Photographers that are local there get to come out and play in the middle of the week. And, the vendors are out, the food people are out there selling food. And, it's a money-making opportunity for everybody in the middle of the week when they wouldn't typically have that opportunity.
Yep. And, you start looking at like I mean, listen, I see track rental costs for big facilities. I want people to understand it's expensive to do what you're doing.
They see what you do. They see how many spectators you bring in, and the next year it just keeps going up every year. They know how to work the system just like everybody else. Oh, well, we want a little more of that pie, so we're going to charge you a little bit more this year. It's like, oh my God, Unfortunately, we've tried as long as we can to hold the prices where we could. For the longest time it was at $375, but it just gets to that point where you have to start setting that cost off because you can't absorb all of it.
Yep. Well, and that's one of the things about these is like, we're seeing like that 300-ish mark, 300 to 350 for the regional stuff. I really feel like everybody is too cheap on national events just because of the amount of racing and tracks you're going to get to. And with regional stuff creeping into that 300 to 350, you start looking at like 475, 500. That almost seems inexpensive. When you're looking at regional stuff.
If you were to go to 5 tracks in a week, okay, just by yourself, it's going to cost you more than that as one person with your family and your race car. It's going to be double that if you go to do that by yourself without signing up for one of these events. It is. I mean, you can't walk through the door of a track and run for under, I don't think, for $150, I don't think.
Yep. I mean, and that's you start looking at testing tunes, you can maybe do it less than that, but like you're not going to get this kind of prep. You're not going to get this kind of camaraderie. You're not going to get shirts. You're not going to get decal packs. You're not going to get all that kind of stuff. So again, I think we're probably due for a bit of a bump in national level pricing, just because I mean I can't imagine the difference in cost for track rental that you've seen over the last 10 years.
And then it depends on what track you're at too. You're talking a top-notch facility, and you're talking about it starts on a Saturday, or you're taking a start and a stop there, plus your tech day or whatever. I mean, it gets out of sight after a while, and then you have to worry, like, how longer are some of your sponsors going to hold and continue to keep going with you year after year? So that also plays into a factor too. Do you have to raise your prices to cover what that sponsor is not going to come in and cover anymore? Like that's all things. That's one thing I don't think, really, the guys that have all started them, and you've seen it too, there's a lot of people that have put their time and money into it, and then they start realizing that, holy crap, this isn't what I think it is. And it's because it's not just a one-day deal. It's all year. More than anybody that it's all year. Start the planning of this next year's event a week after you're done with your event. You have to.
We were right before Mega Week kicked off last year. We were talking about, Race Week kicked off last year. We were talking about Mega Week before Race Week. When you were talking, I thought we were talking about Race Week. And I was like, what are you talking about? And you were like, no, for next year. And I was like, I'm like 2 weeks away from Race Week. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah. And that was one question I had was how long you.
And June quit her job. Like it became such a big deal that she routes your truck and she does Race Week. Like that's what she does for work now. Yeah.
And it's constant. You're constantly, I mean, to say that I eat, sleep, and Race Week, it's true, because when I'm in my truck I'm either making phone calls or I'm thinking about it, or like, it's kind of like Bubba Gump shrimp, man. I mean, you're thinking about shrimp all day long.
Yeah, well, just Race Week this and Race Week that, and
The worst part about being in the truck is that windshield time, man. That time to let your brain think about something. You're not sitting somewhere. I mean, you're obviously a busy guy answering questions for everybody, but the opportunity to have that clarity when you're sitting there and making notes, or I don't know if you do voice to text or whatever, but you're making all these notes as you're going along. Oh man, that would be fun. Oh, that would be a good idea. That only adds to the time.
It does, absolutely. And you'll get a call from me at 6 o'clock in the morning because I want to talk about something because I've been up since 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm all ready to get you out of bed so I can tell you about it. So.
That's happened. I've been on the other end of that.
Did I
wake you up?
A 7 a.m.
Get up.
call with Matt.
We got to talk about this. Okay.
Yeah. The text of, hey, call me when you get a chance. I'm like,
I don't even get that. It's just phone ringing, Matt Frost. I'm like,
it's either that or I've already read something that somebody's made me mad about, and I got to call somebody and vent about it. It's one or the other.
Yeah. Did you see what X and X did?
Yeah.
No, I'm sleeping. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. That, it's funny. The community for us is so small. We like between the three of us probably know 95% of the people that do a drag and drive in the US. We're friends with them on Facebook.
Yep.
We've seen their stuff somehow, but when you look at like the drag racing community, the drag and drive community is about this big.
Absolutely.
But that's one of the coolest things I think about it, and how we've really, think about it, like at this point we've grown organically almost. There hasn't been someone like the NHRA or something come in and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting events and doing 20 of them a year and all that kind of stuff. We just haven't seen that yet.
Right.
It's wild to me. I love it. And I think, eventually we're probably going to get to that point, but I think those long time good events like what you do are going to stand the test of time and always be around. I hope anyways. I hope you keep doing them.
Yeah.
Well,
until
still new. Like I keep telling people all the time, this is still a new concept. Like,
right.
The amount of people who drag race versus the people that do drag and drive, and just trying to get that conversion over. And I think that's where you end up having growing pains when you do have so many that we have going on right now. Like it has to catch up to itself because you don't have the amount of cars converting themselves as fast as the events are coming along. And I think it'll balance itself out eventually. And like you said, it'll keep growing, and hopefully it keeps moving in the movement that it is. But we definitely can see these ups and downs of this just because these guys have done it for 4 years and they need to take a break because life happens. And you got these guys that are still over here, they're building a car or they're thinking about converting their car. So there is a lot of that up and down with it, but it still seems like it's pretty solid for the most part.
Yeah. And I think folks are seeing how much fun a 10 and 12 second car is. Like Jason Hurley's a great example because he brings a, Mopar small block swapped Ethel. I don't know whatever Ethel is, but he brings that car on the circuit because it's fun. It does burnouts. It drives 80 miles an hour. He can cruise it. There's nothing that generally goes wrong with that car, and he just has a blast with it. And then he brings the big car to your event. So then he goes to the hard, and it's a struggle and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and that's where I'm at. That's why we built June's car. We can get in that at any time, go to any cruise. There's not a stress level as the other car is. We still do that car, but you're limited on what you can do with that with your budget. If you're, a normal guy and don't have the thousands and thousands of dollars in your bank account, I have to watch what I do with that car. Same thing with Jason. You can get in any of these other cars and you can go run them. And what was funny is like at the car show, we were at the car show and, it's crazy how many people still don't understand what we do. And you start explaining to them. And I've had a couple guys that came and they're like, I wish I can do it at some point in time. I need to get something faster. I said, no, you don't. I said, you know what? I have a man named Ken that comes over with his Impala that runs, I think it's faster now, but at one point in time, I think it was an 18-second car. I said, and I love that guy comes to my event.
And it's faster, but it's 17s.
That's right. But he's enjoying life. I said, you don't have to have the fastest car. I said, so many people get caught up on that's what it needs to be about. I said, it's the journey. I said, for people like you, it's the journey. He said, just come out and do it. And I said, who cares what your car runs? Just come do it. I said, sign up tomorrow and come do it because it'll change your life, and it doesn't matter what you run. We don't care about that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And we have classes down to 14.0. A lot of people dial your own. And like we don't require you to buy race tires.
Right.
So you don't, your initial investment isn't that great. You can show up with whatever you got, and most stuff, like there's Camrys and crap that run like in the 14s right now. Like you can bring nearly anything and be competitive.
Yeah, I love it. I love the 9.0 to 14.0 index stuff.
Yep. A little bit of feedback coming out of you, Matt, I think.
Getting feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, was my thing getting?
No, I think Mike fixed you. He's got the 1s and 2s. He's got the sliders.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't get it. I thought I may have.
I don't know.
Turn the volume up a little bit on the phone, maybe.
Well, let me plug I got this bass thing. I finally upgraded to a bass so I could be a little bit more like you guys. Maybe it's losing battery or something.
I think it's all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Greg Hurlbut says easy on the Camrys, bro. That's hey, whatever.
Yeah. Pat Cook says show up with 8 horsepower on 2 wheels and have fun.
Exactly.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you are, just get in, go have fun. It's the same with all the events. Every single one I've been to, there are people that are there to win, 100%.
Yeah.
But the vast majority, the 95% of the rest of the guys that are there to have fun with their buddies, meet new buddies, drink a little bit too much beer, and race with people that they just made friends with.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing too is like you end up in in the parking lots. I wish we could show more of that, because really what ends up getting talked about is it's the same thing that gets talked about at any NHRA, IHRA, World Series of Pro Mod event is the times, right? We talk about how fast somebody went or how close they went, or, index races, guy goes 12:005 as an average, because he's an animal, all that kind of stuff. But it's really in the parking lot. But it takes guys like you, like me, to tell those stories, and a lot of times we don't get the coverage we need to bring more people in, because everybody's worried about how fast somebody went.
I really don't know if the coverage would do it, because I think you can talk about it until you're blue in the face, but until you do it and experience it, you don't know it. You can, and I've tried that. I've written it and I've talked about it, and I've told people to their face, and you just don't know it until you do it. And even as a co-pilot, show up as a co-pilot, co-pilot somebody's car, and you'll get it. Like day 2, when you're like, whatever, 300 miles away from your tow rig, and you're waking up in the morning and your alarm clock is cars with open exhausts and cams.
Yeah.
You get it. It's a different thing.
You wake up in the morning and there's no cars and cam, and you're like, what the hell? My alarm clock's not working. I think it's broken.
How long is our drive this morning? Who's going out?
Yeah. The hangover is for real.
Absolutely.
And you're used to seeing race car friends all the time, at every stoplight, every gas station, every restaurant. And then you go back to normal life and you're like, this is no fun at all.
And I mean, I wrote an article for Sick the Magazine. I think it's called like Just Go Do It or something like that. Go read that, go find something like that, but just show up, get your old bracket car with steel door panels or aluminum door panels and crap out, and bring it to a drag and drive. I bet it'll surprise you. It'll probably do really well. And you're going to probably hate your life a little bit during, but right after you're going to go, that was the most fun I've ever had in that car.
Yeah. You're going to drive that thing to work.
Yeah, I told that guy. I told one of the guys that was at the car show too. He's like, "Well, I'm not very mechanically inclined. I have this car, and I'm not very, He's like, I'm worried about what if I break down." I says, "I'm gonna tell you something right now." I said, "I'll give you your money back if you break down on the side of the road and there ain't 6 cars pulled up behind you to help you fix that car that have more knowledge between them than you will ever understand. I'll give you your money back." And he said, "Are you serious?"
And the dude that can tell you that firsthand is Jim Philp. Jim and Billy Lou Philp. They had that awesome Falcon, big block Chevy with a power glide. That was a cool car. What was that?
8-gallon fuel cell. It had an
8-gallon fuel cell and a little bitty dog that they would bring with them. But they mechanically had no idea how to fix that car. But they went out, they had fun. Anytime they had problems, there were people there to help them. They lived it for a long time with that car. And I don't know what they're doing. I think they've got a boat. They just got a new RV and stuff too. But they lived it. And like I said, they had some power glide problem, and it was like a shifter cable. It was super duper easy. But they were like, "We're out, we're done, we're out." Like, no, you're not. Put it over here on some jack stands, and let's go figure it out. And it turned out to be something stupid, and they were off and running, no problem.
And if I find out that you're trying to quit and I'm around, I'm going to go give you a hard time, because I don't let people quit very, very easily. I'll give you help. I'll find you your parts. Even if you're just making up an excuse for why you want to quit, you're probably going to end up with some parts, because I'm going to tell you what we need to do to fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, one thing that we're doing at the circuit that I really want to see if I can expand that into maybe something that that Drag Driver Pete does for other events is the camping. You know, we've hired a camp counselor, a guy that's going to be at the track every night, that's going to have some chairs and a fire and some
Cool.
road snacks, and kind of have a spot for people that are camping to go hang out.
Yep.
Because guys like Reggie and Jason and those guys, they're always welcoming. But a lot of times these folks that are camping, they're tired, they're a little nervous to go up and maybe timid and go talk to these guys. Well, camp counselor Bob's going to be the way to get those folks out of that shell and get them in there, because I've pulled into the track so many times doing this at 10 o'clock and everybody's in their tent asleep. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
I'll just go to the hotel then, fine, So, but I
Right.
can't afford to do that, on 12 events a year. Sometimes I got to camp.
That's right.
So we'll see. Okay, it's 3 hours, y'all.
Yep,
I love you.
we've overrun my bladder.
I can't believe you gone this long. I mean, listen, I don't know if I'll be able to stand up. I've got to pee so bad.
Well, this has been super fun, guys. Thank you so much. We lost Eric. He's got parental duties to go take care of, but thanks, Mike, for having us on. Congratulations on your 100th episode, dude.
And I can't believe it. It's really crazy to think we're just 100's a big deal. And like we were looking before last week or before 99, we've done like 420 live streams from events, from these, from the news. I think we've done 80s.
And to think about, you only started in 2020. This is your 5th year.
Well, so we only started Drag Driver Pete in 2022.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I started, Stoney put together like this panel of people in probably July or August of 2020. And I was going to race week. And so I was like, what do I need to know? And so I took microphones and all that kind of stuff over, and we sat and recorded. It's like 2.5 hours. It had Timmy Meehan, it had Mikey, it had Jason Cunningham, Stoney, obviously, and somebody else was there. And we said, and they basically gave tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff then I was a new guy racing the kart, and they told me what to do. So I took it home, edited it, put it out, and man, that kicked off like an entire career, dude.
Yep.
Because of Matt Frost over here.
Bam, there he is. Both of us got careers for that guy.
Tell Eric, next time we're all on, we'll let him get the first 20 questions, because we're all overpowering and we don't let him talk. So he gets the first 20 questions next time.
That's right.
Yeah. Eric knows at this point he's just got to like go in over me, man. I get too excited talking to these guys. Okay. Adam, tell everybody where they can follow you and where you are next.
That's Cool Drink is my podcast. I'll be back next Tuesday. I've taken the last couple of weeks off. If you guys don't know, I've been fighting a little trademark action thing, so it's been taking up my life a little bit. But I will be back next week. That's Cool Drink. That's my jam. I am on episode 77 or 78, so I'm on your heels.
Yeah, dude, bring it on. I love it. I love the show, man. It's so much fun. When I'm driving a lot, I catch your podcast stuff. So yeah. I don't get to watch a whole lot of the episode live. I watch some of it each time, but it's kind of like this, man. You get in when you can, and then I'm driving along, I'm listening. So I love it.
And for Matt, RockyMountainRaceweek.com, all the information that you need to sign up to get all the merch. They've got a throwback shirt. That was the shirt that you showed earlier. That was the first shirt. They're doing a little like reboot of that same shirt. So all the merch is going to be available there. And man. Yeah. Mega week off the chain.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. Okay. I'm going to put you guys back. Stay with me for 2 minutes. And then we'll, let me close this out and then we'll talk for just a second.
Cool.
Awesome. Y'all listen, if you didn't enjoy tonight, there's something wrong with you. This has been amazing. It's one of the coolest nights ever. I love these guys. They truly are the reason we do this. Matt, for a long time, I was scared of him, to be honest with you, but he's one of the nicest, greatest dudes you'll ever meet. Adam is one of the smartest guys that's out there. And anytime that I talk here, you can know that a lot of the way Adam announces is the way that I portray all of that stuff. And guys, the comments, the likes, the shares, everything tonight has been off the chain. So thank you so much for being our race car friends. We literally cannot do this without you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Episode 100. I can't believe we're this far and we're only getting started. I say that a lot, but listen, we're going to be celebrating 2 and 3 and 400 as we get here in the next few years. And then thank you so much to our sponsors that make all this possible. 3 hours on tonight. Thank you to Summit Racing for sponsoring the show and the news and the everything we do, the circuit, and just being great friends and out there and doing what they do for the sport. Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Deech Works, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, WAF Racing, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Power Tube TV, Sweet Patina with the best hand cleaning wipes on the market, Racing Junk Classifieds. If you're looking for a car or drag and drive parts, go hit all of that up. Y'all appreciate it. Thanks so much. We will see you soon.